It does appear to be showing rotation on the ground. It is imperative, or I should say it's a little bit harder to see because this is in the middle of the storm, which means that it's rain wrapped, so it's a lot harder to get eyes on. But again, please make sure that you are staying safe under this tornado warning. That's for the areas that are under the red polygon, including Ben Wheeler, toward Van, and out toward Prairieville as well. All right, our chief meteorologist, Brett Anthony, just got mic'd up here. He's ready to go. Brett, I'm going to toss it over to you.
Yeah, so Dana Huey was just telling me, so Canton police officers say, I'm going to be State Highway 243 and 198, they spotted rotation. So if we could turn off the lightning here so we can get a better view of this. So from my early quick assessment of the storm here, that rotation inside that thunderstorm is just one concern. The leading edge, and there are pockets in here, if you go just to strictly velocity, we're looking at some wind gusts in the order of 70 to 80 miles an hour. So it's likely causing some wind damage right here in that leading edge of Canton. So that's going to be south of Interstate 20. So let's zoom way in there. I think we're going to find what Dana was talking about. In fact, it's moving toward Murchison right now in Brownsboro. Go up just a little bit, Sarah. So Canton police were saying that rotation was right in here. If we zoom in, we might be able to see those two highways that she was talking about. In fact, it looks like there's some, and in this kind of instance, there's going to be several areas where, with all this wind, that you're going to see rotation. So anybody that was out there witnessing it is going to see certainly a lot of swirling clouds, so we can't say that there wouldn't be rotation here and there. The area of concern of rotation appears to be back here to the southwest toward Jackson, west of 19. That's 198, so that was what you were talking about, Dana. So 198, so it's going to be right in here. So go back to, let's go back to storm relative on that. And then what we'll do, you can see that's the area that rotation, so right in here, so it's going to be 198, probably just crossed over 198 near 243, so now it's over toward Highway 19. So zooming in even further, just to get down to some of the granular streets here if we can. So there's tundra. That area you need to be in your shelter right now. These dark blue areas, really strong rotation there just southwest of 64. So we'll keep slowly sort of panning down here. There's Ben Wheeler. So Ben Wheeler is right in line. Martin's Mill right now would be under some intense winds. Again, these winds are in excess of 80 miles an hour on the leading edge of this. So that's going to do damage. We're going to have wind damage this morning in parts of eastern Henderson County as this moves to the east. The question is, how far east does it make it? And if those winds can sustain themselves, then they're headed into Smith County. So this is an early heads up for all of us who live in Smith County. If there's anything that you want to get inside and get protected, there's going to be some massive strong winds coming into Smith County this morning. So I'll zoom back that out just a little bit again. So right in here, that's the radar indicated rotation. Well, that's back probably here. And then, I think it's right in there to get my bearings with me here. But then that leading edge of this, if we go back to just strictly velocity, we should be able to pick up some very strong wind fields right on the storm here. So in here, west of Ben Wheeler, now it's moving into Ben Wheeler and Murchison. So the north end of Murchison, or Associated Press calls it Murchison, so I'll say it both ways so that we're covering our bases. But I got some emails and quotes on Facebook that said it was Murchison, so we'll go both, okay? But that's unimportant right now. Ben Wheeler to Murchison, we've got these very strong winds, maybe closer to, as I said, there are damaging winds. There's also some large hail in that. So the important thing now is to put a track on this. It's moving, to the east, probably at, I heard 35 miles an hour, which seemed kind of slow for it, but.
At our last check, it was coming in between 30 to 40 miles per hour, according to our Titan indicators.
Okay, so they've extended the severe thunderstorm warning down into Cherokee, Franklin, Smith, and Wood. That's a wide swath. I would use the, instead of the cone,
the squall line.
Yeah, use the squall line, because I think we're going to see this wide area. And I would also go back up to Interstate 20 and bring that all the way down from right along the leading edge there where the red meets the green, bring that all the way down around to Athens. So yeah, where you see that rotation at the top, just to the southwest of Van. So let's start there, do that squall line all the way down to Athens, and then take that out at the speed the Titan indicator is saying. So you can see it moved, the severe thunderstorm warning already in advance for Smith County. So the anticipation is this is going to move into Smith County. So Athens, on the south end side of the storm, it moves there at 7:45, so that's in 3 minutes. So it's imminent right now in Athens with those very strong winds. Brownsboro, 7:55 with winds again that could be in excess of 70 miles an hour. Moore Station at 8:08, then Chandler at about 8:13, to Frankston at 8:29, to Bullard 8:38, and Whitehouse by 8:50. And as I take a look at this, Sarah, let's go back in on a couple of areas. This area of rotation right here is of particular note. That may be just to the north of Ben Wheeler, where there could be, going back to storm relative, we may get a stronger velocity signal right in here to the northwest. There it is, Colfax. So it may be on the ground. I don't know. We don't have any confirmed reports yet from National Weather Service, but that would certainly be indicative. In fact, if you could sample that in terms of the wind inside this bin right here, we'll see what kind of winds we're getting out of that storm between Colfax. So 66 miles an hour with a gate-to-gate shear of 113. All right, so yeah, that looks like we could have a tornado imminent, or if not imminent. Remember, again, we're looking above the ground here at that level. And now we have a tornado warning coming in again until 8:15 for Henderson and Van Zandt. I think that was the issue of the storm. So that's another half hour on that. So we're looking again a little higher off the ground at this distance from the Fort Worth radar site, but with wind speeds that strong, they can easily do two things here. One, extend all the way down to the ground as a tornado, or two, the downward transfer of that momentum aloft is being pushed down to the surface, and in straight line wind form, it could be causing some 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. So regardless, you need to be in your safe place in Ben Wheeler, and also back up here to closer to Highway 64. And Highway 64, I believe it was Brownsboro was very close to that. No, that was down the road just a little bit. Colfax, that's what I was thinking of. So it's between Colfax and Ben Wheeler. Let's zoom in just a little bit more on that storm. And it looks like we're talking about a rural area outside Ben Wheeler, but we know there are folks that live out there. So if you were headed out that direction, if you've ever been to Canton Market Days and you take 64 and you go out that way toward Canton, then you know several of those different spots. I don't see any intersecting roads out here, so a lot of open country in that part, but a lot of farmland out there. So make sure that everyone is sheltered up in place. Again, 8:15 on that tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm warning for Henderson, Kaufman, Navarro, and Van Zandt also. That's going to be on the south part of that storm. And then it really looks like this is a multifaceted type of line here, Sarah, as I'm looking down toward Brownsboro. But I really believe that we have rotation coming off. So sometimes when you get lines of thunderstorms like this, or a bowing segment like this, right on the leading edge of that, you get these little notch tornadoes. That looked like there was one that was spinning up there near Colfax, and then one right here toward Martins Mill. Now these can easily, what these do is these will circulate down the line. So they'll start and then they'll spin up down the line. And then, so there's anywhere along this leading edge here from Martins Mill to Brownsboro right now could have a quick spin up, and a quick spin up that would cause a tornado. Most concerning right now would be the wind signature right here. So zoom in again, and we'll time this out. We need to keep the time on this. So Ben Wheeler just moved through Ben Wheeler, or to the northeast of Ben Wheeler, toward Edom. So Edom also needs to be in that safe place. Carroll, yeah, that was a pretty good view there. You could see just how strong those winds are, and you can see them from the Fort Worth site, and that's going to be from the Shreveport site. So it's right between the two sites. So why do I bring that up? Because you're talking about it shooting 9,000 feet in the air from the Fort Worth site, and from Shreveport, it's about the same. So this is what's happening above the ground. But again, you have to be concerned that that's happening on the surface. Again, do the squall line again with this, because I think this is going to be a wider spread of wind damage if we were to see some, all the way from, I think it's just kind of moved through Murchison. So that's moving into Smith County. Again, that movement's about, what, 35 or 45 miles an hour. So with that tornado warning going till 8:15.
National Weather Service just confirmed that it's going at about 30 miles per hour to the southeast.
All right, so that's why that severe thunderstorm warning goes all the way out there to New Chapel Hill. So the whole area that could have wind damage and or any kind of quick spin up, and we'll keep everybody up to date on this, would be Edam in about 9 minutes, Brownsboro also in about 10 minutes, Chandler 8:12, to the airport in Tyler Pounds at 8:24, Clint's around 8:30, Copeland about 8:40, and Whitehouse at about 8:46. So that's an updated timeline there. So we'll just hold on this for a second. Do we have a camera that's pointed out to the west in that direction? I see that we have a traffic cam up at I-20 and State Highway 19, but that looks as if it's frozen.
I believe that's a picture.
text
I don't
dot.
think that has been updated yet.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and see if I can get one of the cameras to spin to the west.
Yeah, just leave it on this
bit.
image. You can, and I'll talk over this image for a second here. I've seen this many times in the past where we have these Boeing line segments here. And you can almost see the structure of the Boeing line segment if you look at the green. You can see that lighter green area going out, and we're just a little bit behind on that, at least the radar segment that's going toward the radar. That would be toward the Shreveport radar, and it goes all the way down past Athens to Moore Station. There's not a lot of time with these because sometimes the forward or over the ground momentum or speed, the forward speed with these can exceed 70 miles an hour. That can be driven by the winds aloft that are forcing the winds that we're seeing within the thunderstorm at 70 to 80 miles an hour. So just imagine that if you had, if you were in a car or if you were in some sort of vehicle or sailboat that had a sail and the wind behind you was your propulsion, and so you were going to go about the speed of whatever that wind was pushing you. Well, that's how fast this thunderstorm is moving. So it doesn't give us a whole lot of time for reaction out of this whole thing. So as it heads toward Brownsboro and Edam, I mean, it's on you in no time at all. Inside again, and then just on the leading edge of that, from time to time, you can see some rotation that'll spin up, and then it can quickly dissipate, but it can spin up in such a way that as these things rotate counterclockwise, I think I misspoke earlier, I said down the line, these things would naturally move up the line. If they were counterclockwise rotating, one would spin up here, that momentum would drift up the line, it would spin up again, and it would spin up again. It's been a couple of years since I've seen something like this in terms of a wind gust. Now, there was something that hit the Azalea district a few years back that had that similar sort of signature, and as it plowed through the Azalea district, we had wind speeds of 100 miles an hour or more. So in this situation, that's very possible. So that's why we need you to treat this like a tornado warning, even in Smith County right now, because it's a severe thunderstorm storm in Smith County. But treat it like a tornado warning and start going to your shelter and staying there. By the way, we are joined by our radio partners this morning. They are broadcasting live, so you can listen to us as you go to your shelter in places such as Brownsboro or Edam. And that would be 106.5 Jack FM. You could also listen to it at 105.7 Kicks and 104.1 The Ranch, and then La Emisora at 96.7. So all of those radio sources are available to you. You also have our CBS19 mobile app available to you. And the best thing there to do is to go to your shelter. If you have a TV and that's kind of tough because in a closet or in a storm shelter or something like that, you may not have those resources available. But if you have the CBS19 app, you can then watch us as we stream this live through the Facebook app and also through our CBS19.TV streaming, and then of course on our YouTube channel. So there's 3 services there. And then on top of that, then you have the possibility of listening to us on the radio. So right now, we're just looking to the west from our Broadway camera. This is on top of the Chase Bank building, and that's looking west. Nothing looks real imminent or imposing from that point of view. It may be a little bit farther to the northwest of that location, meaning up in this direction, just a little bit. But we'll pan over in that direction and see if we can spot anything a little darker, a little more menacing that's coming in. But certainly, it has that appearance that it's going to rain and rain heavily in Smith County, and it will. But then again, on top of that, we have these really bad winds that are coming in. So we'll go back to the radar here, and as we head back to the radar, Sarah's panning around right in that direction. So we'll keep it focused right in here. Perhaps you can see lightning now starting to fire up. So we'll keep the camera right there, and we ought to be able to see that storm roll into Smith County here. Within, I'd say, if it's the tornado warning goes until 8:15 for Henderson County, we probably get a tornado warning here in Smith County from about 8:15 to 9 a.m. So just to let you know. But
hey, Brett, I actually
yeah.
have an update on that from the National Weather Service.
Okay.
They are saying that they are considering a tornado warning, but most likely they're going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for Smith County with a tornado possible tag. But they're also saying this to treat this like a severe thunderstorm warning because there could be some very damaging wind gusts closer to 70 miles per hour as this is coming through. So again, lots of lightning with this. I'm going to switch back to our velocity so we can see where that rotation is. Just like Brett was saying, it looks like there could be a couple of embedded tornadoes that could spin up on this. That's toward Edam. Ben Wheeler still showing lots of signs of rotation. That's where we're seeing the blue meet the red. That means there's very strong wind that's coming through at that point. So that's to the southeast of Colfax. Our last check from the National Weather Service, it was moving at about 30 miles per hour. So remember, as long as you're in that tornado warning, stay in your safe place. And from our most recent look here, it looks like it just got issued. We have a thunderstorm warning that includes Smith County. I'm not seeing that they placed a tornado possible tag on it, but that is something the National Weather Service is considering. They just updated that. I'm going to go ahead and throw back to Brett Anthony. He has an update.
I think that's still part of the old severe thunderstorm warning that they had issued on that. So they'll probably update that once we get closer to 8:15.
Okay.
But as you mentioned, I think treat this as a tornado warning because if we have 70 to 80 mile an hour winds, and it's not just in one location, it's anywhere down that line. In fact, you can see some heavier wind signatures up toward Mineola. So if we zoom that out just a little bit, you'll be able to see here, look, all these bright red areas toward Winnsboro, toward Mineola, all the way down here. So this, anywhere in here, these signatures are indicative of 70, possibly 80 miles an hour. Those are straight line winds. Again, as Sarah mentioned, especially right in here, there is rotation, obviously, in the storm. It's been spotted by a Canton police officer. That was a little bit ago. It was Highway 243 and 198, south of Canton and south of Interstate 20, and that checked out with the radar. So there's going to be rotation in the cell, but the question is, does it make it to the surface? Regardless if it makes it to the surface, the straight line winds are going to be damaging enough. So what are they going to do? They could peel back metal roofs. They could, at 80 miles an hour, they could topple trees, especially with the way the root systems are with some of the trees around here. But 80 miles an hour could knock out an outbuilding, a shed. If you go think about what happened last week in Coffee City, after the tornado touchdown, the sporadic wind damage that they saw over toward Emerald Bay was between 65 and 85 miles an hour. Those were straight line winds. So this is a similar wind strength coming into Smith County or the eastern, southeastern part of Canton, Van Zandt County, and the northeastern part of Henderson County. So all we have to do is just take shelter, make sure we're in our safe place right now, getting our warnings, and we're going to get through this storm. We'll be fine. We'll be okay. Again, can't rule out that it wouldn't knock down a tree or two, but that rotation right in there is right on the money where this is. And this is between Van and Ben Wheeler now, headed toward Carroll, even though Carroll's in a severe thunderstorm warning. Think of this as a tornado warning. Also New Harmony, and then Tyler, Pounds, and Edam right now is just getting some very strong winds. I'm going to guess, Sarah, those winds are in the excess of 70 miles an hour just by looking at that radar signature.
I would agree, Brett. I was trying to sample it a little bit earlier. It doesn't appear that our radar is going to allow me to sample it at this time, but very gusty winds. I've seen reports again coming in at about 70 miles per hour. We were seeing some very significant hail out of this system as well, so I'm going to check our hail cores. It appears that the hail has diminished a little bit, so it's coming in still at about the size of a nickel or a quarter, where we are seeing that tornado warning. A little bit earlier, closer to DFW, it was coming in at the size of a golf ball to a tennis ball. That was very significant hail, so it's come down a little bit. We're still seeing, though, very significant rotation out toward Ben Wheeler and Van. Just like Brett was saying, where the blue and the red meet each other, that's where we're seeing the strongest rotation. Now, the tornado warning does go for the next 20 minutes or so. That's for the areas that are in the red polygons, so Martins Mill, Colfax, Van. But we are seeing a severe thunderstorm warning for areas out to the west ahead of this storm. Now, if you see these reds and greens switching back and forth, that's just because we're switching between which radar site that we're picking off of, whether we're taking information from Dallas-Fort Worth or we're taking information from Shreveport, Louisiana. We're right on that border of where you can pick which one to see which one gets the best view. So right now I'm pulling off of Shreveport, but we're going to see that storm continue to move out to the southeast. That's why that severe thunderstorm warning is there.
So the important thing here is we got to keep tracks on these storms. Started on that leading edge of the light green, now east of Van and east of Brownsboro. Take it all the way down past Moore Station, because if this bowing segment is correct in here, you're going to see, I'd even go a little bit farther to the north of Van, pull that all the way around, because this thing is bowing out, so it's expanding, so the wind field is growing, not just sort of straight ahead, but all out. That's why the warning you'll see goes all the way down to Frankston and Brownsboro. That's probably where the peak winds are right now, but there are going to be wind strengths that could exceed severe limits all the way down toward Crossroads and Frankston. Just notice how this thing is sort of pushing out this way and pushing out this way. So the apex of the bow right here is southwest of Van, just west of Edom. That's where that rotation is. But then think of it like a fan. So it's fanning out, right? So here's the concentration of winds, and then from there it fans out. Now, the winds perhaps aren't as strong down here and as strong to the north. Right in the middle is where you're finding the strongest, most damaging winds. And by the way, once this tornado warning expires at 8:15, we'll likely stay on the air with this storm as it passes through Smith County, especially if it's capable of producing 80 miles an hour. Those are destructive winds. There may be, and you may get a warning on your phone from the wireless emergency alert on your phones that is meaning that there's a dangerous thunderstorm moving into your area. So oftentimes you can have a severe thunderstorm warning that's not tornadic, but a WEA will be issued. That's a wireless emergency alert, and that tells you that the winds are either destructive or even catastrophic. So destructive winds 70 to 80 miles an hour, above 80. Catastrophic, it can do as much damage as a small EF1 tornado. So sometimes you don't need a tornado to have tornadic damage. You can have straight line winds, and that could be the situation here this morning. So Chandler, 8:14, so about 14 minutes around, giving you 14 minutes lead time in Chandler to basically batten down the hatches. I hate that phrase, but sorry to use it, but essentially get everything kind of secured and start thinking about where you're going to shelter. Tyler Pounds, 8:24. City of Tyler, 8:37. Then Whitehouse, we've been saying about 8:46 to 8:52, so we're still in that ballpark. Troop 8:59, ARP 9:08. So that's going out in this direction here. So we have that warning all the way out. So Moore Station would also be in that. Crossroads is in that severe thunderstorm warning, and also Frankston. Van up to the north, even Mineola looked like and I think they are in part of this severe thunderstorm warning. Sarah, widen that as far out as you can, because I think we have this severe thunderstorm warning that's going now all the way past Mineola. So anywhere in here in this bounded area is where we could have destructive winds that could exceed at least 60 miles an hour, if not 70, and at one point maybe in the middle of all this, closer to 80 mile an hour winds. So very strong winds coming in with that. So let's do another timeline. We'll do it from the top of the box down to the bottom, and just kind of give everybody an idea who's in that severe thunderstorm warning, what time these winds could be there. Because again,
hey Brett, do you want this starting toward Emory, or do you want it at the front of the box?
Back toward Emory.
Thank you.
Yeah, back toward Emory. Yeah, right in there. And then that's perfect. So this will give everybody that's in line for those very strong winds to come in. Moore Station, so that's going to be on the south end flank of this. So you could have severe thunderstorm winds at 8:10, and then it looks like it pops up to Mineola here. These looks like stronger winds and possible rotation moving over in Mineola, 8:13. Tyler Pounds at the airport, 8:25 in all the neighborhoods around Tyler Pounds. And then we go down to Whitehouse, or Tyler itself, and then Whitehouse, and then Jacksonville's on the very southeastern corner of that polygon. So Jacksonville is even in line for possibly some very strong winds. That doesn't arrive until 9:06 in New Summerfield, about 9:17. So,
hey Brett, can I interrupt really fast?
Sure.
I just got some reports in from our producer where those winds already came through in Van Zant and Henderson County. We have lots of power outages. I believe we have a graphic for it that we can pop up. Toward Henderson, over 600 power outages in that area, and toward Van Zant about 75, or toward Henderson County, excuse me, and then toward Van Zant County about 74 power outages outages reported so far. This could increase. Remember, if you have a power outage, make sure that you report it. Don't assume that it's already been reported. Just like Brett was saying, these winds are no joke. Make sure that you're battening down the hatches because they're coming in at about 70 miles per hour from our most recent estimates. Also, a lot of hail out of this. If you want to go ahead and throw back radar on this, I'm getting reports of dime-sized hail in Van at the moment. Very large hail, not as large as it was out to the west, but still hail, damaging winds. Based off of the rotation, it does appear that there could be a tornado potentially on the ground. We have seen reports of what appears, unconfirmed reports of what looks like rotation. But otherwise, based off of this radar signature, it does appear that we're seeing it on our radar as well. I'm going to switch over so that we can see how large our hail is. Like I said, I was getting reports of about dime-sized hail in Van, but toward Edam and just to the north of Moore Station, it looks like it's coming in at about nickel or even quarter size, so it's on the larger end of things here. Make sure that you are staying in your safe place. Now, this tornado warning is certainly set to expire in a little over 10 minutes for the current county, so that's toward Edam and out toward Ben Wheeler and toward Van, but it could continue to move out to the east. If we go ahead and throw a track on it, we can get a better timeline of it. And even if you're not under that tornado warning, we have very gusty winds which are going to be coming in today. If we take our track all the way toward Emory, back toward Athens, this is going to continue to move to the southeast at about, our last check was 30 to 40 miles per hour. You can get a timeline there if you check the upper left-hand corner of your screen toward Alba. That's coming at you right now. Mineola, you get about 10 minutes of that. If it's getting toward Tyler Pounds, closer to a little after 8:30. Tyler closer to 10:45, and then Whitehouse again a little after 10:45. So we're giving you a little bit of a headway on this. Please make sure that you are staying in your safe place if you are under that tornado warning, and that you are prepared to go to your safe place if you're under that severe thunderstorm warning, because there's a very good likelihood that this could continue to be extended, this tornado warning. We're of course keeping an update from the National Weather Service, and I haven't seen any updates from them depending on if they are planning to extend it, but we do have that tornado, or I should say that severe thunderstorm warning in effect that goes all the way through Smith County. And I'm going to throw it back to our chief meteorologist, Brett Anthony.
All right, Sarah, so we just got word from the Canton PD. They have reports of trees down across the city. They are assessing other areas for possible damage, but they don't have any structural damage reported yet. But certainly trees down. I'm sure as we go through the rest of the morning, we'll start to hear something, some sort of at least damage. I think it may be minimal. It could be, pretty bad. But right now, trees down, which we think is very possible with these winds in the excess of 70 miles an hour. So if you have winds at 70 to 80 miles an hour, that's not going to be off the charts at all. Very possible. Mineola, again, 8:17. That's an updated timeline on that. That means you have about 13 minutes before these almost destructive winds arrive here. These bright reds, those are going to be straight line winds. What we're doing is we're taking out the forward momentum of the storm, just looking at, because we're looking for areas of rotation. But even from this, we can tell that we've got very strong winds aloft that could be transferred down to the surface. And in this instance, it could be as strong as 70 or 80 miles an hour. That's why the severe thunderstorm warning is on that. The tornado warning is until 8:15, and right now the National Weather Service out of the Shreveport office is saying that they are going to extend it as a severe thunderstorm warning until I believe they see or hear from spotters that there is more of a confirmation that something is happening at the surface other than straight line winds. But you can see from our Titan indicators here, we have at least 3 areas where there is rotation. And this is almost textbook when it comes to a thunderstorm complex like this. You get what we call bookend vortices, one here at the top toward Alba, another one back here toward Gun Barrel City. So as the winds are bowing out, right, it creates a spin here that's counterclockwise. As the winds bow out toward Cayuga, south of Gun Barrel City, there's also a spin up that comes up. And then at the leading edge of this, as those winds are pushing out, there can be areas of rotation within the very apex of the bow. And so that may be what we're looking at here. And this is just west of the Smith County line. That's in eastern parts of Henderson County. So we'll have Sarah zoom in on this and just kind of check out this rotation, because this might be the most dangerous part of this storm at this time. In fact, there is that Brownsboro right there. See that right there? Okay, that is where you may have a little vortex that has popped up and now it's crossed over. Just got a new scan, so we'll take off the timeline there and we'll put a new timeline on that in just a second. But right here, that is almost textbook when you talk about front-end vortices or vortex rotation between Edom and Brownsboro, right in here north of Highway 31, so just west of Chandler. All right, so the football stadium, this is probably right close to the football stadium in Brownsboro near the high school, moving west toward Chandler. And then let's zoom in just a little bit farther on that. There's Leagueville. So if you know this is probably going to be still west of Chandler, so not into the city itself yet. And then as we switch back and forth, that's fine. You just move it up a little bit here. And then just zoom in just a little bit more. There's the city of Chandler, and there's the rotation north of Brownsboro. And again, both radar sites are going to pick it up just a little bit differently, again, because from where their angle that they're shooting. But it is essentially right in here. There could be a quick spin up anywhere toward Brownsboro. So if you're in Brownsboro, make sure that you're in your safe place. Chandler, please get to your safe place right now. That may be the lowest level, if you live in an apartment building, lowest level of that structure. If you are in a house, what you need to do is go to the interior, most interior room that you have. Stay there. Make sure you don't have any windows. If you do, make sure you take pillows or blankets or something to cover your head in case the windows break. But this is right on 31 now between Brownsboro and Chandler and continues moving east. So let's put a new timeline on that. Again, severe thunderstorm warning till 8:30. Is also in effect, and then we have the extension. Oh my, look, this is pretty impressive, Sarah, from Grand Saline all the way to Lindale, down to Moore Station, all the way to Bradford, right? I mean, we could almost track all of this and have a chance to see severe thunderstorm strength winds that would exceed 60 miles an hour. So this is moving east. I believe they said 30 miles an hour at last count. Okay, so Chandler, still in about 5 minutes or even sooner, as fast as this thing is moving. Tyler Pounds, we've been on that 822 to 824 estimation. That's staying pretty true to form. Tyler at about 8:30, Bullard at 8:37. I'll even move up these times just a little bit, perhaps, because if you were watching us over one of the over-the-top programmings like YouTube TV, Hulu, there is a little bit of a delay between the time our signal goes out and you get the signal. And so sometimes we'll say a time and it can be on your doorstep at that time. So we'll think 5 minutes ahead. There is a possibility it takes us about 5 minutes sometimes for the total sweep time for that beam to go out to a site, to a line, to a piece of precipitation, go back to the radar site, and they get downloaded into our weather maps, and as you see, so there is a little bit of a delay there. And so if you add on top of that the delay of your TV provider, it can be right on top of you as we show you a certain time. So just think about when you see these times, think of that as an estimation, but almost think of that as 5 minutes ahead of time. So Tyler 8:30, Tyler Pounds about 8:17, somewhere in that window. In fact, they could be moving right, it looks like they're right into Chandler right now. That's what I'm talking about. So it's 8:08. And our thing says 8:12, so it's in Chandler. So the winds are now just blasting into Chandler at this time. Pointer also could see some of these strong winds. And then that leading apex of that is where there could be a quick spin up. Now, we got a little bit of information a little while ago from Canton PD that there were some trees down in the city. So trees down, no structural damage yet. They were still assessing the situation. This would be great if this ends up just being trees down across the area. We can easily cut those up and move those aside. Don't want anybody to get hurt today. Don't want any damage to their homes. We've had enough of that last week. So we're really praying that this just is a straight line wind event that just never really makes it to what our radar is showing. And again, remember, the radar is showing wind strength off the surface. But as that momentum, that energy is transferred to the surface, sometimes it can hit the surface and speed up just a little bit. So I got to cover all the bases there with what possibly could happen until we start hearing more from folks of what they saw, what they know, and then we can kind of give you that, relay that information on down the line as to what it could be. But Lindale, you are also going to see some stronger winds. Mineola, you're right, it's moving right into Mineola right now. It's probably there already. Moved across Lake Fork. If it did, hopefully everybody got off the lake before that storm arrived. All the way down to, it looks probably, if anybody's over at the Chandler River Park out there on 31, hopefully they're getting off of the Neches River. No fishing this morning over in that area, down toward Frankston. Also in the Frankston area, Coffee City, they're trying to clean up from the storm last week. Probably best to shelter in place, wait for the destructive winds to move across the area. Let's go back outside, take a look from our Tyler camera here on Broadway looking west. They'll just give you a view of the clouds that are coming into Smith County. And those clouds we're going to see are starting to lower just a little bit, so they're clouding down on us. We're also seeing some ripples in those clouds indicative of some stronger wind fields coming through. As the winds, the cooler winds flow out from the thunderstorm, they encounter warm, moist air. So condensation, net condensation exceeds net evaporation at this point, and so these clouds begin to form, and they'll continue to form, and these clouds will continue to lower as the storm gets a little bit closer to us. We get a lot of like waves in there, so that's a lot of evidence of very strong winds moving into the area. A lot of turbulence also within those clouds. All right, back to radar here this morning. It's 8:11. We've got about 4 more minutes on the tornado warning that was for eastern Henderson, southeastern Van Zant. But again, when we look at the apex of this bow, we need to bring this up so we can look at that. That is right. The reflectivity gives us a great signature of what is happening here. Let's go back to reflectivity for just a second. So Tyler now just starting to see the leading edge, but it's between Tyler and Bullard. So Whitehouse down to Flint, very strong winds coming in. Mineola up Highway 69 through Lindale. Lindale's already seen maybe some of the brunt of those winds up toward Mineola. And then inside that thunderstorm, there's still some rotation being picked up. All right, Sarah, if we go, there it is. So this is just west of Tyler, at least with the winds. The rain will arrive perhaps before the winds will. And then when those winds get there, and again, this could be just a little bit behind due to getting the sweeps in from the radar. So think of this as being pretty much imminent. We said 822 at Tyler pounds, more like 817, maybe a closer estimation for that. And when you see that wobbling back and forth, so what this site is doing, this is picking up, I believe this is going to be from the Shreveport radar site where the green is going back toward the radar and the red is moving away. But here's a new timeline on that. Sarah, that's just, it's moving pretty quickly, but still, Mineola, Tyler pounds. I think we've been pretty good on these times here, sticking with this. And Tyler at about 8:35, Jacksonville 8:51. Troop, I know that's pretty far down the line. Big Sandy 9:09, Overton about 9:20. And I'm going to go check to see if, unless you have any other news from the National Weather Service, and then.
Hold on, Brett, I do not, but I'm getting information in from our producer right now. Coretta, can you please repeat that for me? I'm getting it in my ear. So we have lots of power outages, over 1,100 in Henderson County, and we have over 230 in Van Zant County. So those are your updated numbers on the screen. Lots of power outages, and these are from these damaging wind gusts. These can get at least 70 miles per hour. The National Weather Service is saying that these wind gusts could be even more. If they exceed 75, that is the strength of hurricane wind. So please don't take this lightly. Very gusty winds coming out of this, and there's a timeline. Remember, you may want to add 5-ish minutes because it takes some time for the signal to leave our TV station and get to your mobile device or your TV or wherever you're watching this. So Mineola, that could hit in the next 5 or so minutes. So just assume that it's hitting you now toward Tyler pounds, closer to 820, I would say. Tyler proper, closer to maybe 840, toward Jacksonville, closer to 850, Troop closer to 9, Big Sandy a little bit after 9, and then Overton used to have a little bit of time on that. But make sure that you are staying weather aware. That tornado warning that's in place is where we're still seeing some rotation. It doesn't appear to be quite as strong as it was before, but really the big thing that we're watching for a large majority of the Piney Woods are these very damaging wind gusts, which we have already seen have had some power outages in them. And it doesn't appear that we have any updates from the National Weather Service, so I'm going to go ahead and toss things back over to our Chief Meteorologist, Brett Anthony.
Yeah, they just updated in the chat room that the Boeing segment was moving into Smith County, and they have confirmed at least 70-mile-an-hour winds moving into western Smith County right now. So as we've been talking about for the last several minutes, we've said it was between 70 and 80, and so National Weather Service radars are indicating up to 70, or at least they're getting reports of that. So we'll take this timeline off, look at the winds. So they're talking about, from the National Weather Service perspective, Lindale being in line for that. Tyler, and we just got a new update here, eventually toward Whitehouse. Flint and Troop are also in the path of some very powerful winds. This again extends all the way up to Lindale, now down to Berryville, moving out east. I think they said 35 miles an hour was their latest data. So that puts it right there on Tyler pounds right now. So Tyler pounds getting these 70-mile-an-hour winds. Tyler 830. Then Hawkins at about 844, Troop 847, Selman City 908, Gladewater 915, and Henderson 928. So Henderson is outside of the severe thunderstorm warned area. But if you think about this, that Boeing segment, what's going to slow that down? It's running into dew point rich air. I mean, it is just loaded up with humidity. So it is fueled by moisture. The winds behind it continue to push. It's almost built itself into its own little complex here, especially when I see little spin ups on the north and end side. Back here is this cold pool. So the cold pool has developed on this. So what does that essentially mean? That means we have created a colder area and a warmer area. And as you know, winds always flow from high to low, right? And so the winds in this area of cooler air where the pressure may be a little bit higher flowing toward the area of lower pressure out ahead of it, creating the strong downward winds that are creating the bow echo. Okay, so we now have essentially a thunderstorm complex that has created its own little low pressure area, or in textbook terms, a mid-latitude cyclone, right? Big storms that we talk about coming through that have cold fronts and warm fronts and dry lines, they have usually a parent low pressure area, but they're on a much larger scale than this. This is a micro scale. Little low pressure system has created its own storm system with colder air behind it, strong winds out ahead of it. The temperature is going to drop once those winds come through behind the possible wind damage. The wind damage there in excess 70 miles an hour, at least trees down. Again, metal roofs, fences could be knocked down, privacy fences knocked down, anything high profile. If you know anybody that, say, is driving from Longview or wanted to leave Longview and head toward Dallas, have them stay put. This storm is also moving right along Interstate 20. It's coming right down Interstate 20. Anybody trying to come into Tyler from the east, have them stay put, okay? We need this storm to pass past you before you get out on the roads. Worst place to be is on the road during a storm like this. Henderson, if you're headed north to Longview, stay put. Stay where you are until the storm passes. It may take another hour. Might as well go ahead and call the boss, tell them you're going to be late. No sense in trying to get out into all of this. Jacksonville coming up to Tyler certainly would not leave my house right now. You're going to hit you're going to be perpendicular to the storm. And so if you have a pickup, maybe a Suburban, something like that, that could easily topple your vehicle if it's 70 to 80 miles an hour, the way the radar is estimated. And we're still getting that rotation. By the way, they have dropped the tornado warning for Henderson County and Van Zandt County, but we're going to stay on because of the destructive nature of these winds as they move through Smith County. Mineola right now in the heart of this. It may in fact moved a little bit farther to the east of Mineola, northern Smith County, so Lindale. Let's zoom in on this area. Sarah, let's go to Mineola, kind of zoomed in, and we'll just walk everybody down the line for all the towns, because we got Swan on 69 that would encounter this. So this is right along. This is going to be Highway 69 with Lindale up to Mineola, right? Mineola Nature Preserve. Hopefully nobody's out there today. There's Swan, there's Tyler, there's New Harmony. So the winds are blasting through New Harmony right now. Just about ready to hit Tyler Pounds. We ought to be able to get an surface observation from Tyler Pounds here soon. Noonday, Coffee City already saw some winds, but there's Flint, Teasellville, Bullard. So all these areas here getting some wind. Just east of Noonday, we can zoom in on that area. This is going to be Toll 49 coming across the south side of the city. Hopefully, if you know anybody trying to drive Toll 49 west or east to west, have them get off on maybe Highway 69 or somewhere sooner, or not leave the house at all. Wait till it passes over Toll 49, because you would drive right into the brunt of these winds, which could be exceeding 70 miles an hour easily. Still waiting to hear if we've got any other wind damage out of this. All we heard so far was trees down in the city of Canton, but we are working to figure out if there is more damage than that. Sarah talked about the power outages. There were plenty of those, 1,400 in fact in Henderson County, more than 8,800 in Van Zandt County right now. So Van Zandt County took a direct hit with this storm, perhaps as those the downburst winds, or at least the rear, not the rear flank downdraft, but the forward flank downdraft winds were almost in excess of 70 to 80 miles an hour. It does look like it's, at least from this radar vantage point, it looks like it's thinned out just a little bit, but maybe we can go back to reflectivity. We might get a different view of that. And we should be able to see, there it is. That Boeing segment now has reached Whitehouse to Mount Selman, so it's moved across that area. So the announcement of these winds should be through Tyler right now. In fact, if we go to our our camera, looks like we have, oh my goodness. Sarah, if you could leave this on, that, pan that back at the Tyler camera, back to the south just a little bit. We've got a shelf cloud moving into Tyler right now. That is a beautiful thing to look at. I'll talk about this so you can, yeah. Well,
and Brett, you said you wanted that panned out to the left?
We want to, yeah, go back to the left. See this? This is the shelf cloud. There's the shelf cloud coming in. And you can see, look at the structure of this above that. So the colder air and the strong winds are flowing out, right? There's a bunch of humidity out here. The condensation's occurring right here. This is not a wall cloud. Don't be confused. Look at that. That is, my goodness, sometimes referred to as the whale's mouth. Look how it looks like a big old whale just kind of opening its mouth, right? So you've got the different levels of the wind coming down, creating these ripples in the cloud. This is if you can safely do it, it is a photographer's dream to see a storm like this. If you do snap a picture and you say are on the north side of Tyler ahead of this storm, you are going to see one impressive structure of this shelf cloud coming in. Is that as wide as we can get on that shot? If we can get,
yeah, that's as far as we can zoom out.
Yeah, all right, so the cooler air coming in, hitting that warm air, and then right in here, that's where you're seeing a lot of condensation. Now you may see here little scud rising into the cloud, right? So there's warm air being injected or pulled up into the thunderstorm. And as that is occurring, you'll get these little clouds that may appear to pop up, but this is not a wall cloud, okay? That is the shelf cloud, but back in here, we'll keep an eye on that because we could be looking back through the shelf cloud and maybe a possible lowering there, but right now to me it looks like that is just going to be an appendage of the shelf cloud. So that's pretty impressive in itself. Pan a little bit farther to the left if you can. Let's get a whole look at this thing. And then we'll come back on that area there. We may want to hold right on that spot, though. That does look like there is some rising air into that. Again, this is going to be rising scud into the cloud. So that doesn't look, that's just, you can see how these little things here are swirling. Not in the right spot in terms of rotation where it is on radar. So we'll pan back to the right. I think we'll lock on that one lowering that's in the middle of this shelf cloud. So we're looking over at Broadway Square Mall to the west, so it would be looking out over the loop, and we'll keep an eye on that for a second. Let's go back to radar and check out radar and see what we've got in terms of where that rotation is in relation to where there was some rotation being pulled up right in here. Looks like the strongest bow now has moved into southern Smith County, so we'll pan this up and give you a timeline on anywhere across southern Smith County. I'm going to guess that the strongest winds right now have moved through Bullard, have moved through Whitehouse, and are headed out toward Henderson. So Henderson, giving you a heads up of about a half hour of some 70-mile-an-hour winds coming in there. This goes all the way down to Palestine. Wow, this thing has just, it's sort of grown in size in terms of its bowing segment. So Jacksonville, 831, so it's right there. Troop, that is moving into Troop. It's probably already moved into Troop. Overton, about 8:49, a little farther down the line. Gilmer at 9 a.m. All right, so Gilmer, make sure, and again, treat this like a tornado warning, even though it's a severe thunderstorm warning, but there could be winds 70 to 80 miles an hour. Henderson, about 9:12. Longview, 9:30. So we're giving you a good hour in Longview to tell you that some very strong winds are coming into Longview and Pine Hill. And there's also a lot of lightning with this storm from Mineola through the city of Tyler, and then that impressive shelf cloud. I mean, it's one of, I've not seen a shelf cloud in the city of Tyler here in quite some time. In fact, if we go back to the camera, we'll get a really, look at this lowering here, and this is going to be probably right associated with that area there, okay? So keep an eye on that. Right now, it looks like it is just, there's a lot of rising scud into the cloud. That is not a tornado. Not worried about that. Not worried about any of these little appendages. All right, we're keeping an eye on the base here and see if this tightens up or down in here. But that is moving just over Broadway Square Mall. So the rain is just arriving. Now what we'll probably have to do is switch maybe to our switch over to our CBS19 studio camera. Keep an eye on this right now and look at the winds. The wind is going to start to really, here it comes on those trees. And I think it's already starting to, the wind's starting to hit the camera there. All right, great view here. Great view of this. And that's that lowering that we're looking at. Not really concerned about this. You can see inflow coming into the thunderstorm here. That's part of the shelf cloud, okay, not a wall cloud. So pan to the left just a little bit, Sarah. This is going to be the loop going west. Broadway's down in this location. Broadway Square Mall is essentially over here. That area is moving right over Broadway Square Mall at this time. You can see how fast it's moving. So we're going to pan that camera to the left and get you a better view of that area. Meantime, 70-mile-an-hour winds possible with this storm. Heavy rainfall, some hail also possible with the storm. Some wind damage likely with the storm. It'll be sporadic and scattered across the area. But yeah, pan that left just a little bit.
It doesn't. It looks like it's stationary.
Oh,
it's still getting. One of our anchors just ran outside. She got a video of it. We're working on getting that up right now.
Okay.
But while we're waiting on that, I have new updated power outages. So Van Zandt County over 8,800 outages. In Wood County, 8,000 power outages. In Henderson County, 1,400. Well, over 1,400 power outages. Remember, if you are without power, please report it. Don't assume that it's already been reported. Again, if you go ahead and switch back to our camera outside, we are still seeing that wall cloud move through. There's a pretty significant scud that's following, or excuse me, thank you, our shelf cloud. Our shelf cloud moved through. There is a scud that's starting to lower with it. That is not a tornado. That's a bit of cloud that's coming down. We do have a pretty good video of it that we're working on getting to you as we speak. I'm seeing some reports on Facebook. We're seeing pea-sized hail and strong winds north of Chandler. Some pretty significant hail in Noonday. Lots of gusty winds in Lindale. A power outage out toward Hideaway. So thank you to our Facebook viewers who are helping keep us updated. We just got an update, it looks like, for our severe thunderstorm warning for Cherokee, Gregg, Nacogdoches, Rusk, Smith, and Upshur County, as well as Wood County. I believe that has been extended, it appears, until 9:30 this morning. So that includes a large portion of our viewing area.
All right, let's go back to radar here. So that's good information, good update, Sarah. Thank you very much. We've got that camera shot there that we're looking at from the Tyler camera. All right, so this thunderstorm is really racing eastward, and you can see it's now moved through the city of Tyler. We're basically in the brunt of this, as we were just seeing from our Tyler camera looking closer to the mall. We'll work to get that other camera up perhaps and maybe give us just a view as the storm moves. We'll also probably be able to follow it from a different vantage point. But on the leading edge, possibly 70-mile-an-hour winds moving into Jacksonville. Right now, Coffee City is just taking a beating in terms of heavy rainfall, thunder, and lightning. Some of the rainfall estimates out of the storm, the total storm, were in excess of 2 inches of rainfall. Wasn't sure that it was all going to happen all in one spot. And there's also some hail. Sarah, you were talking about some pea-sized hail in there. It looks like maybe some nickel to quarters between Tyler and Bullard on top of that. So,
yeah. Definitely, it is building. Like the hail that we were seeing out toward Noonday, we didn't get a size on that. It was significant is what we were seeing, and we saw a report of an inch hail out toward Noonday from another spotter out there. So pretty significant hail. Lots of rain is coming out of there. We are currently under a severe thunderstorm warning. I am seeing questions on if Tyler is under a tornado warning. We are currently only under a severe thunderstorm warning, but make sure that you are ready to go to your safe place if you need to, because very damaging wind gusts, 70 miles per hour or more, which is enough to cause significant damage. I'm going to throw it back to Brett.
All right, so some new video just into the Weather Center here. I think Mariah Cundiff was outside taking video of that shelf cloud. So, and you can see the gravity waves along with that. So those waves there are, you can see that sort of that wavy action of the cloud. So that's just the gravity waves. The shelf cloud itself looks like it is not visible in that picture. Unless it's going to be at the bottom of the screen. So what I do see is a lot of gravity waves. So that's indicative of some stronger winds that are flowing in ahead of that. This looks like the shelf cloud back here behind that seam. Those are gravity wave clouds. All right, back to the radar and check it out here for us. On radar, we've got the severe thunderstorm warning that continues. And so Sarah's just gone over to storm relative velocity. So yeah, we're taking out that forward momentum of the storm, which might be 60, 70 miles an hour, when we're just looking at the winds itself. So the winds inside, and this is where we really typically look for rotation. It does look like there's weaker rotation with the cell than there was in Henderson and Van Zant County. But there are these concerning bowing segments here, which could create 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. And that's now just on the doorstep of Troop. So wind damage, trees could get knocked down with this. Tyler, some trees could get knocked down for sure out of all of this. Back toward Mixon and Jacksonville, some very strong gusty winds up through Lindale. This has now moved to the east of Lindale. If you live in Lindale and you can share any information with us, please do. Right in here would be an area of particular concern. Sarah, zoom in. This is going to be down Troop Highway, just west of Troop. In fact, it's going to be west of 69. That's going to be, and this might have been that little lowering that we were looking at as it was crossing because there's the loop, and that might have been the area that we were looking at earlier in that rotation that was coming overhead and spread through the area before. It's probably now east of 69. Again, remember, sometimes the radar signal is a little bit behind just because of the transfer. We send up the signal, National Weather Service sends out their beam, it comes back, then it's ingested into our machine, then it's made into this legible, readable picture, and then this is what you see. That's Cambridge Road right now. So let's zoom in and get some more roads here on this area where as Broadway Square Mall, we showed you that. So Wilder Way, Paluxy Drive, Copeland. All right, FM 756, this is toll 49 across the south part of this. This is where this rotation is likely going to be crossing now east of 69. And again, it may be sitting right on top of us, but we lost sight of it in our camera. Can you maybe zoom this out just a little bit? I'll talk about the streets. Maybe we can move the camera over on the Broadway Square camera or the Tyler camera, and then maybe point that more south, because I think the storm has now moved a little bit farther. But let's do one more track on the storm out here. Started out ahead of it with anticipation that we're a little bit behind, so maybe started out a couple miles out ahead of that toward Mineola, yeah, in that area there. And then it's moving east. Looks like it's moving due east now at 35 miles an hour. So here we go. Jacksonville, 833. Maybe severe thunderstorm winds in excess of 58 miles an hour. Then Troop. So Troop, perhaps some stronger winds coming into Troop. This would be an area where there could be a 70 mile an hour wind gust. We go up toward Big Sandy, a little bit of time left till you see that storm moving in at 8:59, so it's in about 25 minutes. Bright red areas here with a little rotation being detected southeast of Mineola. So there could be some very strong winds coming into Big Sandy. Here's Interstate 20, just moving across Hideaway, out by the golf course, Holly Tree Ranch, moving in through those areas. Strong winds here, moving across the highway. You can hear the wind and the rain right now outside our TV studio. We are now just starting to take the brunt of this. Here comes some of the hail, some of the heavy rainfall. Yeah, it is really, it's let loose on top of us, and our camera is taking a beating here.
Yeah, Brett, it looks like we've lost connection with our camera out at Broadway Square Mall due to all of this crazy weather that we've been having. This is a look outside our CBS19 studio. You can see just how intense that is. It's so dark outside. We're seeing reports from our viewers on Facebook. Lights flickering. It's dark in Longview, dark in Glanewater, hail in Gilmer. So we are really taking the brunt of it right now. Gusty winds. I've seen a recorded gust of 40 miles per hour recorded at Tyler Pounds from our 5-minute observations. We could have wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour, though. You can just hear how intense it's raining on our roof right now. We do have that severe thunderstorm warning still in effect that includes Smith County and areas out to the east, including Henderson, the city, Troop. That's just stopping at Longview, Gilmer. This is a very significant bowing segment, a lot of lightning with this, and some hail as well. I'm going to switch over to track how large our hail is, because it sounds like it's coming down rather significantly at our roof. So in South Tyler, our radar is estimating it between nickel and quarter sized, maybe even close to the size of $50 for our hail. Toward South Tyler, toward Whitehouse, I'm going to zoom in and see if we can get some cross reads going there. So north of Noonday, toward 75, and then toward Old Jacksonville Highway. You can see Old Bullard Road there. The hail core seems to be forming toward Cumberland Road, closer to County Road 168. Lots of hail out there, and like I said, we are just hearing it come down here on our CBS 19 studio. If you look outside once again, you can just see our camera shaking due to all of the wind and rain that we have going out there. You don't need our current conditions. There you go. Now you can see a better look outside. Heavy, heavy rain coming down. Our camera is shaking due to the gusty winds and the significant rainfall. Very dark outside. We don't have any indication from the National Weather Service that they are planning to continue this, but we are seeing estimates of 50 mph plus winds in Lindale and in Pilot. Pea-sized hail has been reported in Lindale and South Tyler, dime-sized in areas of Tyler toward Old Jacksonville and Rice Road. I'm going to go ahead and throw a track on this, that way we can see where it is.
Radar. Folks are probably wondering where this storm is. I know that's a great view there, but yeah, radar is going to be the most important thing here in the storm tracks that we can show folks as it arrives toward Gilmer. It's moving into eastern parts of Smith County, so New Chapel Hill area, and also back toward Jacksonville, toward Troop. Troop is getting into it, and you know the leading edge comes in. You have the shelf cloud, and so what we've experienced here in Tyler is we had the shelf cloud sort of announce the arrival of the winds, and now the winds are. I'm surprised that Tyler Pounds only saw a 24-mile-an-hour wind gust. That had to be.
Brett, they came in at 40 miles an hour.
40 miles an hour, and then our current conditions showed Possibility I should be talking over. I think
I think we just got audio back. Did we just get audio back, control room?
Sounds like we have audio back on
Okay,
here.
we have audio. We're good.
All right, hopefully we've been on the air the whole time with you on the TV station side, and you'll be able to watch. We've also been on the Facebook side for folks who've been watching us on Facebook. We appreciate all of you, especially was it Katie and Troop with that report. That is so helpful. That helps us in more ways than one. We can see with radar, but the important thing, eyes on the ground, relaying back real-time, real information that we can correlate with what's heading inside a cell. Radar only looks one way. Radar's looking into the sky. It's using a lot of different mathematical equations to figure out which way the precipitation particles are moving, right? It's not necessarily. It derives from the way the rain and the hail and everything is moving. It derives the wind speed and the wind direction. But when we can have somebody on the ground say, hey, I saw this. This is what we're getting. When we get wind reports or damage reports, that's another. Here's another rotation down here toward Blackjack. So this is what Sarah was talking about, what I've been talking about all morning, the National Weather Service talking about also, is that you have these little spin-ups on the leading edge of that bow, right? So the bow's pushing out. You get little areas of low pressure that form along the leading edge of that bow. And I think in Blackjack, we may have seen another one. Troop had one. Now it looks like back behind it at Blackjack, there could be another stronger circulation that's popped up here. Again, brief tornadoes. Maybe not the strongest tornado, but enough to do some damage. Could be in the order of 85 to 115 miles an hour when they do spin up like that. So quick, so tough to see, especially too when we have all this rain that's coming down. And that is headed east from Blackjack out toward Pleasant Grove, McKnight, Brockfield, and Pine Hill. So let's put those times on that. Pleasant Grove, and that was 9:07 a.m. As it continues, let's do another track on that. Joinerville at 9:11. Turnertown at 9:05. Are we tracking this one here?
Oh, I have the track on the one in Troop. Let me
move
go
that
down
up,
to
move
the
that up
Blackjack
a little
one.
bit so it's more in the center of the screen so folks can see that. I know they could probably see it here, but let's make that storm.
Do you want the track on the one on Troop?
Blackjack, on Blackjack.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go front and center on the Blackjack rotation. That just popped up, so that's the newest rotation. I think the Troop rotation has weakened a little bit, but that Blackjack rotation tightened up just like that. And again, that's what can happen with these storms and why it's so important, even as Sarah just mentioned, to stay on your toes and be ready to go to shelter. But you really should be in shelter already. With the severe thunderstorm warning pushing through, we were talking about treating it like a tornado warning when you have winds that are in excess of 70 miles an hour. So there's Blackjack. That's headed toward Pone, Brockfield, and Pine Hill. 9:13 out here just north of Anadarko, south of Henderson, but Henderson is still in a tornado warning, so please stay in your safe place right now. Pine Hill, Brockfield are also out there. Here's Mount Enterprise, so there could be another spin up down the line. So Mount Enterprise, you're close enough to the tornado warned polygon that I would think about heading to my safe place right now. So Blackjack, maybe we zoom in on Blackjack just a little bit, and you can see because that's going to be Troop Highway. We had Troop, and then the next rotation spun up back to the southwest. Not unusual. Rotation here, it reorganizes, it spins up back down to the southwest. So that's not unusual. That looks like a fairly strong signature there. So it could produce a quick, say 5-minute or even 4-minute tornado like we had over at Lake Palestine last week. And sometimes those can occur between the radar sweep. Remember, it's going to take 5 minutes for that radar sweep in most instances, unless they have an individualized cell. Then they can do sector scans on it. You can cut that down to about 1 to 3 minutes in terms of the returns back and forth. But when you have a wide swath of thunderstorms like this, you might be able to just scan the whole segment or the whole Boeing segment. And if you can cut the time down in terms of your signal out and signal back in. So we could get faster updates, and probably what is happening with the Weather Service with this morning, especially as it started to sharpen up as a bow echo. All right, so 70-mile-an-hour winds coming into Turnertown, Overton right now, a few minutes left on that. Blackjack, possibly a quick spin-up tornado. Troop might have been a quick spin-up tornado, but it looks like that rotation quickly spun out and headed up toward Turnertown. Whitehouse, you're now in the clear. Bullard, in the just heavy rainfall. Bullard, noonday. Tyler, just heavy rain right now. You might want to wait till that rain subsides a little bit. The visibility is greatly reduced. Mount Selman, but we're still looking at, it looks like our Titan indicator now is trying to spin back down toward New Summerfield. Bring Blackjack up more here toward the center. I know we have the tornado warning for Troop right now on that circulation there near Turnertown, but it's that Blackjack signature that's really showing up and looks kind of dangerous at this time. So Blackjack, I think that's going to be Pone. It could be Pony. Severe thunderstorm warning, 9:30 till Cherokee, for Cherokee, Gregg, Rusk, and Smith County. So Smith County is still in the severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado warning still for Rusk and Smith County, though the tornado warning has now moved away from the city of Tyler and Lindale and is really in the eastern part of Smith County, closer to Overton, and also has moved east of Bullard, northeast of Jacksonville in that Blackjack area, and then right in here is a fairly wide rotation. We have power outages. All right, so Coretta, our producer in the booth, is telling us we have power outages. And where are those power outages from? Sarah's going to do it, or I'm going to toss it over to Sarah.
All right, thank you. Well, we do have power outages. I believe that we have a graphic that is going to pop up for you any minute. But in the meantime, remember, if you are in parts of Rusk or Smith County, please be staying in your safe place until this tornado warning passes by. That's going to go for the next 20 minutes or so for the areas that are under that red polygon, including Overton, Whitehouse, and in Henderson. Okay, I see we have our power outages up. In Wood County, 15,000 outages. Van Zandt County, 14,400 power outages. In Henderson County, about 10,300 outages. And then in Smith County, so far we have reported over 500 outages. That takes the number to over 40,000 people without power across East Texas. Remember, if you do have a power outage, make sure that you report it. Don't assume that it's already been reported for your area. And this is a result of the very gusty winds that we have coming through, and the straight line winds, which could reach 75 miles per hour, or I should say 70 miles per hour, which is very close to hurricane force winds. But really our biggest concern right now is that tornado warning for Rusk and for Smith County. If we can go ahead and switch back over to radar, thank you. We're seeing rotation out toward Troop. That one isn't quite as organized. There's still some more organized rotation toward Blackjack that again is starting to become a little bit more organized, but we are still seeing gusty winds all across the Piney Woods, where you see those brighter whites in that red color. That means that we're tracking very significant wind gusts up to 75 miles per hour. So even if you're not under that tornado warning, make sure that you are staying on your toes and you're ready to go, because they could issue another tornado warning and you'll need to shelter in your safe place. And 75 mile per hour winds, that is equivalent to a hurricane force wind. So this is not something that you want to take lightly. Please make sure that you are staying safe out there. So I'm going to switch back over to our reflectivity, see if you can see it. This is a really textbook Boeing segment. You can see that C shape starting to form. I'm going to throw a track on that real fast, and then we'll zoom back into the tornado warning here in just a second. But this is moving at about 30 miles, almost due east at this point. All right, so in Kilgore, that leading edge of the storm will get to you in the next 5 minutes. And remember, there is a bit of a delay from the time that our signal is leaving the station and getting to either your TV at home or to your mobile device if that's where you're watching us. So keep that in mind. All right, so we have a Kilgore. It's going to get to you very soon. Henderson in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Toward Longview, the leading edge will reach you close to 9:30. Pine Hill a little after 9:30. Toward Hallsville closer to 9:45. Garrison almost at 10, and Carthage a little after 10, assuming that it continues to move at the same speed, which it has held very consistently, moving close to 35 miles per hour out to the east. But gusty winds out there. I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to our storm relative velocity so we can track that rotation out toward Troop. All right, it looks like we are still seeing rotation just to the west of ARP and toward Turnertown at the moment. We do not have any confirmed tornadoes on the ground. This is simply radar confirmed tornado. But that being said, you still need to treat it with the utmost respect. We always say respect the polygon and make sure you are going to your safe place in Henderson, in Overton, toward Turnertown, and anywhere that is in that red box. Your safe place, oh, it looks like we just got a new tornado warning in, including Kilgore, out toward Monroe. This one is going to go toward 9:30. That's just to the east of Browning. We're seeing the rotation there on 31. That's toward Country Road 246 south, where you can see the red and the green starting to meet. I'm going to go ahead and toss things back to Brett.
Yeah, I just have to reset us. It's 9 o'clock here on a Tuesday morning, May 28th. You're watching CBS19 TV. Live coverage of tornado warnings across parts of East Texas this morning. And Sarah was just mentioning the cell that has just been tornado warned for Kilgore and Browning. I just want to bring you back up, and then I'll toss it back to you. The National Weather Service getting some reports from some spotters in the field. So Smith County, ES2, is Hunter Rath says there's a tree down on FM 346 at County Road 122. It's blocking the highway, so please avoid that. Radar-based rotation remained steady at the time that was heading toward Selman City into western Rusk County. 40 to 50 mile-an-hour winds being reported in parts of Smith County, but no ground level rotation that was observed in ARP, even though ARP for a time, well, Troop was under the tornado warning, but then it looked like it shifted back to the southwest. And then some other reports that are coming in here. Let's see. They got the new tornado warning, as you mentioned, and then there's some questions about what's headed into Longview right now on the chat room. So that's what we're looking at it currently. Again, that Kilgore tornado warning just popped up. That's near Pirtle. So Pirtle, you need to be in your safe place. Monroe and Lakeport. I'm assuming, just because I've been looking inside the chat room, that is probably the area of rotation. Sarah will probably need to track that area where that red and green are
toward
popping
Browning.
up there. Yeah. And they said that they were going to allow the warning to expire, and then the Kilgore circulation popped up. So Laird Hill, please be in your safe place. Monroe, Stewart, Easton, Tatum at 10 a.m. So Kinslow, also too close for comfort. I'd be in my safe place there. And then Browning is just moved to the southeast of Browning. Overton, I'd be in my safe place. You're still under a tornado warning. Pirtle, still in that tornado warning. Anywhere along 259 up to Danville. Also FM 349, anyone living along Danville. And then in the city of Kilgore, you need to be in your safe place right now. Liberty City, also in a tornado warning, so hold off going anywhere. Make sure you're sheltering up. It looks like FM 2776, also Farm to Market 850, East Industrial Drive in Overton, and New London, West County Road 102. I'm just reading off roads. If you hear your number, we're talking about that. You're in a tornado warning and you need to be in your safe place right now. And as we mentioned, in your safe place, that just means you simply need to get inside and as far as you can and stay in those spots. Go down to the bottom of the screen a little bit. It looks like we're still looking at that blackjack rotation west of Henderson. This is one that they did talk about as it was coming into western Rusk County. So the Weather Service is watching this very carefully. There have been these little indications of rotations trying to pop up west of Price and southwest of Turnertown near 42, Texas 42. So we're in those. I'm not surprised we're seeing all the power outages that we're seeing now, because we know the leading edge of those winds were super strong. In fact, it sounds like it's quieted down just a little bit. Let's take a quick look outside just to confirm what we're seeing here in Tyler, and it has still. So you might notice some wind behind the storm. So in situations like this, as you get, think of a boat. So a boat goes by, right? And it goes by at such a speed that it creates wake. And then with that wake, eventually the water starts to fill back in. All right, so we've had this storm plow through here, and now the air is rushing to fill in the air that was pushed out by the thunderstorm. And so you get what is called a wake low. So a wake low could be developing where we're seeing a quick pressure drop and wind speeds close to 50 miles an hour. So the winds are quite strong still in Tyler, and that's why that camera is shaking here at the loop and Troop in the Loop. Even though the rain looks like it has subsided, we are probably going to get winds for maybe the next 40 to 45 miles or 45 minutes that are going to be on borderline severe. And that is because we've had this little area of low pressure develop behind the thunderstorm. All right, just wanted to check that out and then go back to radar. Sarah, so wake lows, this has been a fascinating morning. We've had shelf clouds, wake lows, tornado warnings, straight line winds in the destructive or not catastrophic category yet, but certainly we're getting, and all these power reports, this is a powerful, powerful storm.
Certainly, Brett. I think our last check of power outages was over 40,000 people across East Texas were without power. And we'll, of course, keep updating that with you as we get more information. Otherwise, we still have that tornado warning in place until 9:30. I'll zoom in. That's everywhere in the red polygon, so including Kilgore, for parts of Browning, just to the north of Overton toward Lard Hill, and then up toward Monroe, Kilgore and Kinslow, just stopping short of Lakeport. However, if you're anywhere between Kilgore and Lake, it includes part of Lakeport, so make sure that you are staying in your safe place as long as that tornado warning is in effect. I'm checking our Facebook questions to see if we have any other questions out there, but it looks like we are asking about parts of Smith County. So Tyler, we are kind of on the back end of that, but that still means that we could be getting gusty winds out there. So you're out of the brunt of it, but don't assume that you are out of the woods yet, because there could still be more storms. I had a question about Whitehouse. Lots of lightning, but you're about to be on the backside of that storm as that comes through. No more tornado warning in Whitehouse, but lots of lightning, again, gusty winds. Let's look and see where that rotation is right now out toward Browning and Kilgore. It doesn't appear like this is super organized rotation, but we are still seeing that radar indication that there is rotation. Again, this tornado warning will be going until 9:30 for parts of Gregg, Rusk, and Smith County. So if you're in any of the areas in this polygon, please make sure that you are staying in your safe place, which once again, that is the lowest level of the building. Usually a bathroom or a closet is the best. If you've not gone to your safe place, make sure that you are going. So, and if you're heading out on I-20 today, I'd recommend waiting until that storm passes by. This is going to be very dangerous to drive in. So if you're heading out toward I-20 near Liberty City, Kinslow, near FM, it looks like 111, Kilgore Highway, and just where it attaches to 322. We do have that tornado warning in place, but lots of gusty winds all across East Texas. I'm going to toss it back to Brett.
All right, so we're getting reports of some damage across the area. This is going to be a picture of Holly Tree Ranch that we're going to show you. By the way, also reports of some trees down between Whitehouse and ARP. But here's the picture again. Can we put the credit back up then? This is Holly Tree Ranch, or Holly Lake Ranch. Sorry, Holly Lake Ranch. And do we have the credit on who this came from? This was the homeowner out there, or okay, East Texas Chapter Ambucks sent this photo in. If you can see it, I don't know if you're seeing. I guess you're seeing the photo. Okay, there it is. But you can see how the trees fell into the house. So we've saw a lot of that last week out at Emerald Bay, in parts of Lake Palestine. Not to say these winds were that strong, could have been, but that's just an evidence of how you get a straight line wind that can do damage like this, and why these storms are so dangerous, and why when we say please go to your safe place, this is why you do this. If you were in that bedroom upstairs or somewhere upstairs, that could be a dangerous and devastating place to be with a tree falling into
Brett,
that area. Yes, Sarah.
I'm sorry, I am getting some questions. We're getting reports on Facebook of some sirens going off in Longview. So
okay.
I want to zoom in on that real fast. Longview is currently not under a tornado warning, but we're getting reports of the sirens going off there. Lots of gusty winds coming out of this, close to 75 miles per hour wind gusts, which again is the same force as a hurricane. So hurricane force winds coming through. So be prepared to go to your safe place. If the tornado sirens are on, we don't have that tornado warning in place just yet.
Is it just outside Longview? It looks like the box goes right side of it.
It stops near Lakeport.
Okay.
And let's go in and get some cross rates there.
Yeah.
So toward FM 1845, that's kind of where it stops. It does include parts of Old Kilgore Highway and I-20, parts of East I-20 Access Road, and it looks like it stops just south.
Oh, right there by Equipment Park.
Equipment Park.
And then MacArthur.
MacArthur Street, and then FM 1845. That seems to be the closest road that's coming through.
All right, let's see, that looks like it's, I don't know if there's a way to get a different, that's just storm relative. It just looks like it's, yeah, but sometimes, so emergency managers will go ahead and issue, they'll sound the sirens when you have winds like this coming in to a particular area if a wireless emergency alert was sounded by the National Weather Service. So there could be 75-mile-an-hour winds. That little notch there near Kinslow could be something that could produce some rotation soon. So that, again, is one of those areas here where we see, so inbound winds are coming in here. The bow segment itself is forcing the winds out. And so you get these little notches on the front end of a bowing segment. And these can, again, move up and down the line and spin up and cause quick spin-up tornadoes. So there could be an observer out there that's seeing some low-level rotation. Remember when that storm moved across through Tyler, we were showing you that low-level rotation that was with the just behind the shelf cloud. So the shelf cloud came in, the low-level rotation passed over the mall, and then all the wind came. So that's kind of what could be happening here at Longview, and that's just outside of the city limits, south of Gregton and west of Lakeport. Gum Springs is here, but that tornado warning, as Sarah mentioned, is right up on the doorstep. If there may be some anticipation that they'll further issue that tornado warning downstream, though the Weather Service didn't seem like, I would imagine they will, just with these little notches popping up on the leading edge of this.
Yeah, they seem to be popping up everywhere. And I'm monitoring the chat. We got something in from the Longview Public Safety Communications. They're saying they're sounding the sirens in the southernmost city limits, including Lakeport inside of the warning, just to be safe. Right now, that does only include the very, very southern portion of the city, from what I can tell, based off of our most recent updates. But otherwise, be prepared to go to your safe place in case they do continue that warning. Like Brett said, it's a very good likelihood that they do end up continuing to issue that. I'm also getting a couple storm reports in, some downed trees, multiple downed trees on FM 13 near Price and Overton, and lots of hail out there, Brett.
All right, so zoom that out just a little bit here. So the next notch up toward Gregton just popped up here, right there toward Longview, right here. So that's the new one, and there's another one up here. Each one of those could have a quick spin up with that, then back down toward Pirtle. So anywhere along this bowing segment. So let's widen out and do another storm track for folks. We have the tornado warning till 9:30, so that's about the next 18 minutes. The front edge of this does look a little more jaggedy. It was very sharp about a half hour ago as it was moving through Smith County with some of those very strong winds. But now it's starting to look a little more ragged on that front end. A couple of things could be going on there. We could be starting to see little spin ups on the leading edge of that, or perhaps, you know, now we've pushed out so much of the cooler air aloft in that thunderstorm that it's just not able to ingest as much as it's pushing out, and that would be giving it less of a wind threat out ahead of it. Still a wind threat, don't get me wrong, but just maybe just a little bit less of a wind threat in terms of not maybe 75 or 80 miles an hour, but maybe 58 or 60. Still severe thunderstorm warned storms with those areas of rotation popping up in there. So East Mountain, you are right on it. It's right on your doorstep right now. It may already be there with those stronger winds. Longview at about 9:25, so about 12 minutes. So as Sarah mentioned, make sure you're in your safe place. Treat this like a tornado warning, even if it just becomes a severe thunderstorm warning as it gets further into Gregg County and then into Panola and Harrison County and then southern Rusk and even into parts of northern Nacogdoches County if it makes it that far south with the warning. Just because the winds, again, the history with the storm knocking down trees, knocking down power poles. We've got thousands without power this morning across East Texas. And then behind the storm, you're not done yet. You're going to catch some very gusty winds coming in as a little area of low pressure has developed behind it, and it's filling in all of the air that was pushed out ahead of that thunderstorm. So Pine Hill, 9:34. So you have about 20 minutes at Pine Hill to head to your shelter. I'd head to your shelter, take along your radio, take along your CBS19 mobile app. Just sit in your shelter. This takes about an hour for the whole storm to move through. Took about an hour to move it through Smith County, and now it's moved out. So then we've got Hallsville, 9:44, Timpson about 10 o'clock, Carthage way out to the east at 10:08, Marshall at 10:19. Anywhere on that leading edge you could expect wind gusts close to 70 miles an hour. And we're getting what reports out of where? Storm reports out of Brownsboro? Okay. Okay, and okay, I'm going to toss it back over to Sarah. So Sarah, there's some storm reports coming to us out of Brownsboro.
Yeah, we're getting those reports out of Brownsboro. My producer just got in my ear and said, so we have an unknown fire that's behind a gas station on Highway 31 and FM 314. Also at 11171 Moss Street. A power line is in a puddle of water. That is very dangerous. Make sure that if you see a downed power line, you are very careful because those still can be live, and if you touch that, that could be fatal. Near McKnight Street, we're saying that reports that is impassable due to a downed tree in that area. And if you're out at FM 3204, it's impassable due to a large downed tree. So make sure these are all, again, near Brownsboro. Please make sure that you are staying safe out there. And again, the power lines, very, very dangerous, especially if they're in water, because again, that could be a live wire still. And if you touch that, you could be shocked with all of the electricity that is in that power line. Be very, very careful and never, ever touch water if a power line is down in it. Now, we are seeing reports from National Weather Service, Shreveport. They are continuing to monitor the tornado warning that is currently in effect. It's set to go for the next 15 minutes. That's out toward Kilgore, but they're planning to give it a couple more radar scans before they potentially considering canceling it due to weakening rotation, assuming that it does continue to weaken. They are continuing to monitor it though. So that rotation just to the northeast of Kilgore toward Laird Hill and toward Kinslow, Liberty City. You guys are included in that as well. To Kilgore, Kinslow, you guys are all in your tornado warning. Now, even though they are starting to see signs of it weakening, stay in your safe place until the tornado warning expires or is canceled. As long as there is a warning in place for your area, make sure that you are staying safe because something could pop back up. And the National Weather Service is getting this data very, very quickly. So make sure that you are staying very safe out there. Otherwise, the main concern for the rest of our area is some gusty winds. And it looks like we got a severe thunderstorm warning out toward Nacogdoches. That's going to go through 10 a.m. for Angelina, Cherokee, and Nacogdoches counties. Again, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. So we're not necessarily seeing a tornado out of that. But the big thing for all of us across the Piney Woods are gusty winds. National Weather Service is saying that it could be over 70 miles per hour, which is close to, again, hurricane force winds, Brett.
All right, so new information coming in from Coretta in the booth, and Mariah Condiff was on the phone with the city of Tyler. So a lot of the intersections, of course, were without power. So as you go through the morning, treat these as a four-way stop. Be considerate of your neighbor, your friend, as you pull up to that four-way stop. Have patience. If somebody's to your right, if you pull up at the same time, person to the right has the right of way, so they go first. Person to the right has the right way, they go first. You see how that works? You just go. Be very friendly, okay? Just don't rush through the intersection because you could have an accident. But a lot of the intersections with the lights are out because we lost a lot of power in Tyler. So just take your time, pull up, make sure it's all clear before you proceed through that intersection. It'll probably take a good portion of the day to get a lot of those intersections back up and working again. So you've got a while. All right, so this is the latest track on this toward Cushing, Pine Hill, Dotson, Tatum, Timpson, Carthage, Tenaha, all expecting some very strong gusty winds out of this. National Weather Service, interesting, I believe they're going to let the tornado warning expire.
They just canceled it,
They just canceled it. All right, so they are saying these quick spin-ups are still possible, but we're going to stay on because, again, these quick spin-ups to go along with the stronger winds. In fact, if we just switch back to straight up velocity, maybe we can see what the winds are like within that storm and all that lightning there. So any of these bright green areas are just pulses of very strong winds that are coming into the storm. All this green is headed toward the Shreveport radar site. So Henderson right now is catching some very strong gusty winds. Also north of Henderson, up into the northwestern part of the county, back toward Recla, back toward Laneville, Mount Enterprise. Let's go down. I'm going to investigate the severe thunderstorm warning. Don't want to forget about the folks down in parts of Nacogdoches County, Alto. So again, there are some winds down around Cushing and Nat, Rusk, and Alto. So the winds there could be in excess of 55 to about 60 miles an hour. It looks like Storm Relatives giving us the better view of this morning. Earlier, there was a pretty good velocity signature, but now it looks like as we look here in some of these brighter reds, and I don't know if we can maybe sample that just to see what kind of wind speeds we're getting, especially in those brighter red areas to the north. So maybe we just walk our way up the line there and see what we've got in terms of from Laneville, if you want to do those. So 58-mile-an-hour velocity, so that's why you have the severe thunderstorm warning right now at Laneville, so you can expect 58-mile-an-hour winds there. 40-mile-an-hour winds in that little pocket between Pine Hill and Carthage, so the winds are coming down just a little bit. Anywhere here between Kilgore and Darko and Tatum, in any of those bright areas, 41 miles an hour, so anywhere 32. So we're getting and you're clicking on, we're back here or out in here?
I'm clicking right along the line.
Oh, click out here where we see some of the brighter reds toward Tatum over toward Darko. Let's see what we get. We could be getting some strong outflow or even downburst winds in that Kilgore area. So 35, that's interesting. So 46, so the winds are coming down just a little bit as it's moving eastward. That strongest wind signature that we profiled was farther to the south toward Rusk. A little area of rotation, weak rotation showing up around Kilgore. All right, so winds could be settling down just a little bit, at least according to our what we're doing with our sampling of our bins here in the wind. There's a little area of maybe some weak rotation, broad rotation between Overton and Henderson. Looks really broad here between Henderson and the western part of the county. So again, the tornado warning has been canceled, but the severe thunderstorm warning, they go on till 10 a.m., I believe. Right, Sarah?
I believe, yes, it's either 10 or 10:30. Oh, till 9:30 for Cherokee, Rusk, and Smith, and then out to Nacogdoches just till 10. And Brett, I've been watching our 5-minute observations at the airport in Longview, so that's East Texas Regional Airport, where we get our official information. And our wind gusts are hovering right around 40 miles per hour out there. So they're starting to build, at least at the airport in Longview. Areas in Tyler, we're still tracking lots of wind gusts, but it does appear that our wind gusts are going. We were recording close to 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Tyler pounds. They're starting to settle out a little bit, but they're still very gusty. I think our last check was about 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts, again at Tyler pounds. And these are our observed wind gusts, not necessarily our radar indicated. So it's still very windy out there. We no longer have the tornado warning in effect, but please be on your toes because anything like that could continue to pop back up. Otherwise, the big thing that we're tracking are very gusty winds. I'm going to throw a track on this, that way we can time it out, this leading edge of the system here. So you can see where that red and yellow system starts to meet the green. That's where we're tracking the leading edge. Now, this doesn't appear to be as organized as it was before, not necessarily quite as much of a bowing segment, but the leading edge is still jutting out a little bit. And I'm going to start it a little bit farther out because it takes a bit of time for the radar signal to get into our system and then for our signal to get to your home or mobile device. So please keep that in mind as we continue to track this system. If you're out in Longview, you can expect the leading edge, so the start of the gustiest winds, to get to you in the next 5 minutes or so. And toward Hallsville, closer to 5:40, Carthage, a little bit after 5:45, towards Center, close a little bit after 10, and then Marshall, we're tracking about 10:20. Now I'm getting reports that we have, I believe it's another, is it a storm report that we're getting, Coretta? All right, we have I believe we can throw your graphic up for you. This is in Smith County on County Road 1113. We're tracking downed power lines. Please do not touch a downed power line. That's very dangerous. On Farm to Market Road 850, there's a large pine tree that is down and blocking the road. On Highway 110 near Lindale, again, trees are down on power lines. That means the power lines could potentially fall. Do not touch a downed power line, especially if it's in water, and then be extra careful. Toward FM 2661, a power pole was snapped in half, and there are lines across the road, which is very dangerous. And Brett said earlier, we have a lot of power outages across the region, which means the stoplights are down. So as you're getting out and about this morning, remember to treat it like a four-way stop. The person who got there first goes first, or if everyone arrives at the same time, you go all along to the right. All right, Brett, I'm going to toss it back to you.
Yeah, so we just had a report and maybe a picture here of a tree down at Biloxi and Shiloh within the city of Tyler. So that's coming in behind the storm now. We're starting to pick up some damage reports. All right, so that we don't have access to that picture right now, but we did get reports of a tree down at Biloxi and Shiloh. So yeah, the leading edge here, not as sharp as it was. Again, there can be some quick Okay, so this is going to be the tree down at Paluxy and Shiloh. So it looks like it's kind of between that area there, going up that hill just a little bit, closer to those neighborhoods on the east side of the Andy Woods area. But they've got the tree. It looks like the street is blocked off right now. Can't tell if there's cars coming in the other direction, but that's a fairly large tree. Just an example of the size trees that this wind could have knocked down. Fortunately, I've not heard of any reports of any injuries so far this morning. Hopefully everyone was sheltering in place as this powerful line of thunderstorms moved through, with the possibility of embedded tornadoes inside that line, the bow segment that we had come through. So bow segments can cause wind damage easily with winds in excess of 70 miles an hour. They're usually long-lived. They can last for several hours. We saw that. Sarah was on the air earlier with the tornado warning out in Henderson and Van Zandt County. This is the same cell that was out there. It has matured into a full-fledged what we call a mesoconvective complex, or a mesoconvective vortex, technical terms there, but that has moved all the way through now out to the east. And so now it's approaching Panola County and Shelby County and also Nacogdoches County. And that severe thunderstorm warning goes until 10 o'clock down at Nacogdoches County until 9:30 for Rusk County and Gregg County. We'll see what happens. Again, this looks like it's taking on more of a raggedy edge. Looks like the winds are perhaps starting to weaken. The Laneville storm would be of the most concern right now. That's where our Titan indicator says that there's rotation, and that does look like a stronger rotating storm northwest of Cushing toward Laneville. So if anybody is in that area, you can see a little red next to green. So we'll keep an eye on this for us, and this is why we'll stay on at least until 10 a.m. with this storm, because we need to watch that cell. Looks like we just had a little update, and near Cushing, that rotation perhaps a little too broad to create a tornado, but still some rotation there with some stronger winds flowing back toward Shreveport and away from Shreveport. So this looks like this is covering the city of Cushing, so it may be as much as about 5-mile wide rotation. We want that rotation to be down to about 1 mile wide before we start thinking about a tornado or a tornado on the ground. That looks like that's still fairly wide at this point, so that's good news. So Sarah's putting that length on that, so it is about a 5-mile wide rotation right now. So if that tightens up, we get a tornado warning right now. It's probably an interesting cloud feature to look at, probably a scary cloud feature to look at right over the city of Cushing. Dennis, if you live down in Cushing, someone watches us a lot. If you can get a safe picture of that, we'd love to see that. Appreciate that. Laneville, between Laneville and Cushing, but particularly right over the city of Cushing currently, with that signature that's coming in. Back toward Alto, back toward Rusk. On the back side of this, it seems like the winds are still gusting. We've got what we created was a wake low behind the thunderstorm complex. So as that colder air behind the thunderstorm complex, it sort of it builds like its own little engine, right? So it pushes the wind out ahead of it. We get the damaging winds out ahead of it. You get low pressure areas on both sides, and then that air fills in. And as that air fills in, you get a little area of low pressure behind it that rushes in to take the place where all that air was pushed out. And all of that wind can exceed 50 miles an hour, and the pressure can drop just a little bit. Sarah?
Thanks, Brett. I'm getting some reports of some more power outages in our area. We have a graphic with it that showing lots of power outages across North and East Texas. This is an interactive map, so it's constantly updating. In Smith County, over 100,000 people across the county are tracking without power. Across other portions of East Texas toward Wood, power outages about 12,000. We have even more out to the west. But we have lots of storms continuing out toward, out toward North Texas. We have even more up there, but really here in East Texas, if whoever is moving the mouse, if you can move it out, where we're seeing the heavier reds and the oranges, which is really right here in the Piney Woods, is where we're tracking heavy power outages. All right, county outages across Henderson County, over 10,000, and we're tracking about 62,000 people in that county. Toward Anderson and Cherokee, we are still tracking some power outages as well, but really right here in Smith County is where we're tracking very significant power outages. We've seen lots of reports of some downed power lines out there. So remember, if you come across a downed power line, please make sure to not touch it because it's very dangerous. We still have that, we have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Very strong wind gusts are going to be coming out of this as it continues to push out to the east. So what we're going to see with this power outage map is we're likely going to see the reds and the yellows, which indicate more power outages, continue to push out to the east as it continues to move out toward Louisiana. But we do have those very, very gusty winds across the region right now. I believe Brett has an update on it as we have a new severe thunderstorm warning, which was just added. Brett?
Yeah, and if you look at the overall bowing segment itself, okay, so now McGilmer has kind of come out of that. The bow itself has shrunk, so Longview, Henderson still inside the bow all the way down to the bottom. So this is why we have the severe thunderstorm warning, which appears to be most of Panola County. So Panola, eastern half of Rusk now. So the city of Henderson is you're about to get through the worst of this. So things will calm down in Henderson coming up pretty soon here. Gregg County, it's going to be city of Longview, and really the eastern half of Gregg County. Harrison County, it's just going to be this southwestern corner of Harrison County that could be impacted by the stronger winds. And then Panola County, it looks like all of Panola County eventually as that cell moves through, and then over toward Rusk. On the southern flank of this storm, so the southern edge where the winds may be just a little bit lighter, but still some rotation possible. Angelina till 10 a.m. And that looks like this is going to skirt along the northern half of Angelina. So Lufkin, you're okay. No reason to head for your shelter there. Cherokee County, right now it's going to be Alto to Rusk that has the brunt. Jacksonville, you're okay. You can come out of your safe place if you've been sheltering up. Little rotation there in southern parts of Cherokee County. And then Nacogdoches County. So it looks like it's really most of Nacogdoches County. Thankfully, all the kids have gone home for the semester from Stephen F. Austin State University. So that's good news. You don't have to worry about your student at SFA. They are hopefully home and safe and watching the storms from their safe place this morning. But that's the way it stands now. Again, the signature on this Boeing segment, a lot less structured than it was. It was almost a textbook bow segment with a bulge out in the front. So the apex of the storm was out here. We had what almost took on like an arrow appearance. And at the leading edge of that, there could have been 70, 75, maybe 80-mile-an-hour winds at times. And then as it went down the line, we had little areas of low pressure that formed on the south side and on the north side of the whole Boeing segment, what we call bookend vortices. And sometimes those can spin up. So this is one of those little actions down on the southwest side, those little bookend vortex that you need to keep an eye on, because sometimes that can spin up a quick tornado, especially in the location where it is. But that's in southern parts of Cherokee County right now. So that storm warned till 10 a.m., so we got about 28 more minutes with it. We're going to ride this on out. Interestingly enough, and Sarah, I'm not sure if I looked at data last night before I went home, this showed up, but it was popping in from the north with some stronger winds, and it was a little later in the morning, and then there was another round overnight tonight. Did the data change on that overnight chance for thunderstorms tonight?
Brett, we still had that showing up on about half of our high-resolution models, but I have a feeling the atmosphere is so overworked that we won't get that big line that I talked about this morning. This is probably going to be the most intense of the day. Not to say that we can't get storms in later today, but just like the data showed earlier, it kind of moved along our western edge, but it turned out to the east much faster than our models anticipated. With severe weather like this that is constantly updating, it's very hard for our weather models to model a situation that is developing so quickly. But really, we are still seeing that Boeing segment. It's a little bit farther north than we originally imagined. We currently don't have any tornado warnings in place, and I don't see any indication that they plan to issue a tornado warning here in the short coming little bit. Otherwise, we do have two severe thunderstorm warnings, which is still something you need to make sure that you are keeping up to date with. Very gusty winds out of this, and I'm going to go ahead and check our hail sizes, which are coming out of it. We've seen reports of around P to half size or $half sized hail out there. Our hail cores are currently to the south of Mount Everpride toward Cushing, and just to the west of Alto. Those are coming in anywhere between a nickel to a $half, according to our radar estimates. Large hail. I'd recommend staying inside, even though you are no longer under a tornado warning. It's best to stay inside to avoid all of these gusty winds and large hail that's happening. And we have another hail core that's forming just to the east of Henderson, between Henderson and Chapman. That's coming in at about nickel-sized hail. So not as large as we have seen out of this, but still that is significant hail out there. Really, the big thing that we're tracking is
each one of those hail
wind.
cores, give folks an opportunity as to knowing when that could be arriving there.
Alrighty.
So I think, what is that, nickel to quarter? So that's just slightly below or close to severe thunderstorm limits. All right, so what do you got? Delray, Holland quarters, and then it moves out into eastern parts of Panola County into Carthage. So 1017, so that's this hail core. Let's move down to the hail core southwest. That's the biggest hail core right now over Cushing. That's where the best rotation was occurring at this time. So that's headed toward Garrison, Jericho, and Center between now and 10:30. And again, that warning goes until 10 o'clock. So this is just an indication where that rotation is we have strong, what we call updrafts into the thunderstorm. So the air is moving and rising quickly in there. And then, of course, it's rotating, and it's rotating strong enough to keep those hailstones suspended. And then down toward Alto and Douglas, we've got Nacogdoches at about 10:03 with some hail moving in, Swift and Grigsby. Let's go back to the wind on some of these storms here near southern parts of Cherokee County. And it looks like, and it would be interesting to see the whole, just to play out the whole bow segment at some point to see exactly how this thing all evolved and where it came from and just how long it's been moving in that direction. So yeah, this is the last couple of hours. So this is going to be 2 hours. You can see it's back out toward Van Zant. Tornado warning was issued just after 7 o'clock this morning for Henderson and Van Zant County.
Brett, I'm getting in from the National Weather Service. They are planning to issue a tornado warning east of Henderson. That's new in just now.
Popped in. Okay.
There it is.
All right, so zoom in on that. So we get another one of these little rotations that have popped up, likely a storm spotter out in that area, seeing a rotation near Pine Hill, east of Henderson. So that popped up pretty quick. In fact, there's a little green area trying to indicate that the winds are trying to blow away from the radar site while the rest of the winds are blowing toward. So maybe something in there, but I think the main rotation is going to be back here toward Pine Hill. So that goes until 10 a.m. So that'll certainly, we'll track this all the way through Panola County. All right. So another thing to do is a reason that stay in your safe place is that you don't want to go look outside and have a tree fall into your residence. A lot of folks, the first thing you want to do is get visual confirmation of storms like this, but it's best to just go to your shelter. We continue to cover these storms with our radio partners, 106.5 Jack FM, Kicks 105.7, 104.1 The Ranch, and La Invasora 96.7. So you can always listen to us simulcast as you are in your shelter. You have your CBS19 app. Your shelter should be the most interior room in your house. And we'll say this very often, but a lot of folks will be like, where do I go? Well, you go to that most interior room. If that's a shelter, I mean, if that's a closet, and preferably no windows, go there, stay there until the warning has passed. With this instance this morning, this has been one of these sort of situations where it sort of exceeds what we would typically talk about in a tornado warning, because we were talking about severe thunderstorm winds that were in that 70 to 80 mile an hour range. Treat it like a tornado warning, but then every once in a while we've had tornado warnings pop up as we do right now at Pine Hill and over toward Henderson and over toward Carthage. So this looks like it's pretty vague. I don't see a whole lot unless we track right here, but that even so doesn't look very strong. It's a pretty tough. So that is, I don't see any cities popping up there. So
popping up toward Logan, toward 1030. That's the main city that's in there. I'm going to throw a bit of a wider track on it.
Okay.
Just that way we might be able to get more cities in case this wobbles a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, that's moving at about 30-ish miles per hour. There you go. It's really only popping up Delray and Logan. That are the cities there. So this is a not densely populated area, which is a good thing, but still, of course, we want everyone across East Texas to be safe. And I do have some updates for power outages across the areas where the storm has already moved. Towards Smith County, we have 21,000 power outages reported so far. Toward Wood, 20,000, bordering on 21,000 power outages. In Van Zant County, close closer to 19,000 outages. Henderson County coming in at 10,000 outages, and then Upshur County about 8,000 power outages. Remember that if you have lost your power, make sure to report it. Don't assume that it already has been reported. But we do still have that tornado warning in effect. That's for parts of Panola and Rusk County. I'm going to zoom in and see if we can get a little bit of a closer look at which cities are out there. So Pine Hill, Delray, Chapman. That's just at the edge toward Carthage, Beckville. You guys are the main cities there. Again, that does include all of Carthage. It extends just slightly farther than the severe thunderstorm warning that we have that's stopping right in the middle of Carthage. Otherwise, the tornado warning does extend, containing all of the city of Carthage. And we've said it about 100 times, but just in case you're joining us again, make sure that if you are under that tornado warning polygon, that you are in your safe place. That looks like the lowest level of the building that you can get to in the most interior room. The biggest thing is you don't want windows where you are, because if the glass shatters and the glass gets picked up by the debris, it is not going to be very pleasant. So if you do not have access to an interior room, make sure that you are grabbing blankets, grabbing pillows, something that's going to give you extra protection. If you have a jacket, make sure that you protect your head and your neck from any flying glass. Otherwise, the rotation doesn't look as organized as it has been in the past, but this cell has just been popping spin-ups left and right all across the piney woods. So we're of course going to continue to track it as long as there is a threat of a tornado, and there is still a tornado warning that's contained within a severe thunderstorm warning that stretches up toward Longview, Henderson, Mount Enterprise, all the way down toward Alto and toward Nacogdoches. Now that tornado warning is just for that little area to the east of Henderson continuing through Carthage, but all of us across the piney woods are dealing with some gusty winds right now, right, Brett?
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons they issued that tornado warning on there is that the National Weather Service reported from emergency management in Rusk County multiple trees down in and around Henderson. And so if there's multiple trees down, there is a chance that perhaps that did spin up a quick tornado near Henderson or in Henderson. And now that rotation is moving into western parts of Panola County toward the city of Carthage. So again, with these types of situations, we've got strong straight line winds, and anywhere inside that line, you can have a quick spin up. And if that quick spin up exceeds 65, 85 miles an hour, it can do a little bit of damage, knock some trees down. Hopefully no structural damage. We have not heard of any of that yet. Most of the damage that we've heard, if there is structural damage, it's because a tree fell into a house. We had some of that at Holly Ranch Lake earlier this morning. Meantime, this circulation is still showing up, at least in our Titan indicator. It's on about a medium strength rotation, but still strong enough right there. If we zoom in on that part of the storm and maybe track this between Pine Hill, that's where we've been tracking most of this, out 79. So if you live in Delray, hopefully you're in your safe place. Beckville, you're just going to be north of that. I would not worry about this cell in Beckville. Buncombe, I would, in case it turns to the right a little bit, wobbles back to the right. Carthage certainly needs to be in that safe place. Holland Quarters at 9:52, Carthage at 10 a.m. The tornado warning goes until 10 a.m., but we'll see if that gets extended all the way into the Louisiana side of the border. Meantime, Dotson, you are okay. I don't think this is going to make a 90-degree turn and head toward Dotson, but still some winds there. But certainly this is the strongest rotation that we're seeing within that cell. And as Sarah pointed out earlier, it's kind of in a rural area of eastern Rusk County moving into western Panola County. So it looks like it's over into western Panola County right now. Going to be somewhere interesting to note if it's near Lake Merville. It might be a little bit west of that, but thunderstorms moving over that lake. A lot of popular bass fishery at Lake Merville. So if you know anybody that might be out on the lake, want to get them off the lake, hopefully they have already made their way off the lake at this time. But that rotation there enough that it may have knocked down some trees in the city of Henderson. Emergency managers in Rusk County are saying that it did in the city and around the city. So there could be quick spin ups from time to time with that rotation, meaning that it is capable of producing a tornado even if it is not at this time. So that tornado warning continues. We have the cities up here, Delray, Holland Quarters, Carthage. Maybe we zoom in just a little bit and see if we can pick up any. So we know that's right along 79. There's Pine Hill. So it came out of Pine Hill or close to Pine Hill out of Chapman. There's Holland Quarters, so that is real close to Delray. And then, of course, Carthage on down the line, and that is going to happen in about 19 minutes. So we're giving you at least 19 minutes, if maybe a little bit less. Again, remember, there is some, depends on what you're watching on. If you're watching on one of the streaming apps, there's a little bit of delay between our signal going out and it being absorbed by your streaming app and then appearing in your TV. So sometimes you have to speed these times of arrival up by as much as 7 minutes. But let's say more so in the order of at least 4 or 5, but it can be that much of a delay. If you're watching over the air, that delay is going to be cut down, but even at that, now they are doing, oh, look at this. So we have not seen many of those this year. So we have a little tornado vortex signature, a TVS indicator come up on our Titan indicator. So if we can, let's check that out. We'll look inside the storm. What our Titan indicator does is it's able to dissect the storm. It's going to put some mathematical equations on it. It's going to derive from what we're seeing there in that tornado warning that goes until 10 o'clock. What it thinks is happening inside that storm as it approaches Delray. So if you live in Delray, now is really the time to get to your safe place. All right, so we're seeing a tornado impact of a 6 right now. So that's higher than what we would like to see. The hail impact is also there. With that hail core, that would suggest that there is strong updraft into that storm. With the wind impact at about a 1.5, flooding impact around a 4, but the probability of hail 100%, and it's big hail. So strong updraft, likely strong downdraft in this storm right now. If we take a quick look at our reflectivity on this might give us, let's see if we got any kind of, if it's in there, boy, it's rain wrapped again. These are so difficult this morning, those rotations that are going to be rain wrapped. Earlier, if you watched last night at 10, I had cut the storm that happened up at Valley View. I don't know that we can do that with this storm on a 3D plane just because we've got so much rain.
Or a slice.
We can try a slice. I'm afraid that we have so much rain that it may be really difficult to see. We'll have to turn off the lightning for that.
Let me try doing this. Also, while I have you here, we are getting reports specifically in for Carthage from the National Weather Service. They're saying that if you are not in your safe place in Carthage, that you need to be there right now because of this radar indicated rotation, which we are currently tracking.
Yeah, turn off that lightning there so we can get a clearer view of that. It's tough to see. There's just so much rain. So if there's anything in there, it's going to be rain wrapped back in this side of the storm, near northeast of Pine Hill, just west of Delray. That's east of New Prospect. So that's where that rotation is. You can try to pull through that, but I just don't know that we're going to be able to see if it's as rain wrapped as it is. But again, Carthage saying get in your safe place right now as the storm moves into those areas. So pretty tall updraft, 50,000 feet on that storm. So that storm has the tops at 50,000, so pretty powerful storm. Let's look outside while Sarah resets the radar. We're looking outside here in Tyler, and as we do, we're going to just see, all right, so she's got it reset already. Okay, so no need to look outside. So there it is. That's the tornado warning. That's the tornado vortex signature, and our Titan indicator picking up at least almost a 6 on the indicator. So yeah, if you live in Carthage, time to be in your safe place. Delray, please be in your safe place right now. If you were in a mobile home, don't leave your structure to go somewhere else. If you are in a car and listening on the radio and you have a chance to get out and get to a safer structure, say in Carthage, you would do that right now. It looks like, did that Titan indicator go away, or did we turn that off?
It did just pop out, and the National Weather Service just dropped Rusk, Texas, or Rusk County from the tornado warning, so it's continuing to move out to the east. Carthage is still under that warning, though.
So Rusk is clear, Panola County not, Delray, Holland Quarters, and then Carthage. Boy, this is right on the city of Carthage right now. So likely what we're seeing is that rotation looked rain wrapped. There it is, south of Delray. The severe thunderstorm warning till 10, but the tornado warning also goes until 10 p.m. So that's south of 79 and between 79 and 315 coming into Carthage on the west side. Again, this may be a little bit faster. I don't know if we can do a pretty quick track on that into Carthage. It may be getting so close, we may not be, it may just be imminent this time to say that it's a couple minutes away, but it's picking up Logan and Funston. So yeah, let's just say that it's imminent on at least the south side of Carthage. at 149, there's Panola Street. So if you live anywhere along Panola Street or inside the city of Carthage along 59, 149, it is west of Carthage, Panola, the airfield out there. But Sabine Street, I would be in my safe place right now as that moves into Carthage proper. There's Sabine in downtown Carthage. There's 149 going around the side. So their loop that goes around the city is right in line for that tornado, or at least the signature that's out there to the west. And there it is. There's that signature near Buncombe. But Buncombe seems to be outside of that. Delray, please, I hope you're in your safe place. But the circulation tried to tighten up, and then maybe it loosened up just a little bit. But nonetheless, the tornado warning now for Panola County till 10 a.m. Chapman, even though there's a little rotation here, you're fine. Brockfield, Pine Hill, you were under tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings earlier. You have been cleared. Gary City is not in that warning right now, so you're okay. Just keep an eye on your warnings on your CBS19 app, so that if there is a new warning issued, you can head to your safe place. But be ready to go in that place. And hopefully everyone else is sheltered up and staying there, watching us on our CBS19 mobile app or watching us on TV, especially in the city of Carthage. It's got to be getting, you're likely seeing that shelf cloud that moved through, and then that lowering that we had. And it seems like that lowering's been pretty significant or consistent, or it's been changing up and down the line in different areas as that storm has been moving through. Let's go back to reflectivity here just to see where the leading edge of that storm. So it's going to be right here. Look at all that lightning with it. And then the wind, the reflectivity gives us just kind of a better idea as to when the heavier rain arrives. The circulation appears to be wrapped inside all that heavy rain, so really tough to see. Rain is starting to move, the heaviest rain moving out of Henderson right now in New Prospect, but still raining and lightning heavily at Brockfield and Buncombe. And then Gary City will also, you're not going to avoid the storm in Gary City, don't get me wrong, but in terms of the tornadic spin-up potential, that's staying north of you. But Delray and Holland Quarters are ground zero right now for this storm as it moves through that area. About 9 more minutes on the tornado warning for Panola County. Rusk County lifted from that severe thunderstorm warning also until 10 a.m. for, I believe, is that the severe thunderstorm warning includes Rusk County, Shelby County, and then on up into, so all of northeastern Rusk County still under the severe thunderstorm warning. So we've got the strong winds that come out. There is some inflow into the at least main line that's wrapping back into the storm here where the tornado warning is north of that. So all of this humid air is wrapping into that storm, and then south as we go down toward Nacogdoches County. We need to switch over to our Nacogdoches camera.
All right, I think I have it ready to go, Brett. I had it pointed up to the north a little bit ago.
Yeah,
so.
we ought to be able to see the leading line of this coming right over.
Oh, it looks a little scary out there.
Yeah.
Look at those clouds.
Right? Yeah, so we're looking, we're looking north.
I believe we're looking north to the northeast.
Yeah, if you want to kind of scan that around and see if we see anything a little.
You want me to go west or east?
Let's see, if we're looking north, go back toward the west a little bit and see if we see anything approaching. And I thought to the right would be to the west, as where the sun sets this time of the year. So.
Alrighty, that's directly out to the west. Those clouds do look kind of menacing. You can see a little bit, it looks like a gravity wave is trying to form.
Yeah, and that would make sense. If that storm is approaching in, then we should have those gravity waves, and we should be able to see. So a lot of these features here where that air is descending or rising up into the thunderstorm. So, and again, these aren't tornadoes. Those are little scary looking clouds, or SLCs in that. Let's continue to pan over. There's another one of those.
That was a wind gust that knocked our camera over.
Oh, yeah. So let's see if there goes another wind gust. So the winds are just arriving at Nacogdoches. Looks like it's hard to tell if there's part of the shelf cloud there. It may be, let's go back to the right. That seems to be the area that has the lower clouds currently. But you can see the storm itself is moving west to east. So right over, just to the north, or at least the scariest part of this storm is moving right to the north of SFA right now in Nacogdoches. So the clouds are moving ahead pretty quickly on top of that. It's kind of tough to do an assessment from a camera point of view here, and especially the view that we're looking at It'd be great if it was, coming at us, approaching, and we could see a little bit better.
That would be, but still, we can see how quickly those clouds are moving. I mean, if you are outside, please make sure that you are safe to do so. But those clouds are moving so fast. But also, Brett, I just got word in from the National Weather Service that the tornado warning for Panola County was expired, or they're planning to let it expire. But double check and throw up our radar real fast. That way we can get an update. All right, that was centered out toward Terrell, so out toward Carthage. They are planning to let this expire at 10, so we have about 5 minutes left on this. Still, make sure that you are staying in your safe place while we have the tornado warning in effect. It's not safe to go outside until the National Weather Service officially cancels it, but they are not going to issue another tornado warning downstream of that. Once this storm passes through, they're just going to let it run its course, it appears. Maybe a severe thunderstorm warning, but no more tornado warnings. I'm going to check back with our velocity tracker, which is how we can see rotation in the storm. There is still some rotation, but it appears to be a little bit more broad scale than we saw before. But again, that tornado warning is still in effect. So if you're in Carthage or Del Rey, please make sure that you are staying in your safe place until 10 a.m. when that warning expires. Right, Brett?
Yes. Sarah, can you go back over to reflectivity? And we'll widen this out so that we can see the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then if you can make that go back about 3 or 4 hours, I just want to show you what's coming back in here. Not warned right now, but as we try to clean up today, we are going to have to deal with more rain and thunderstorms. So this was the thunderstorm at about 8 a.m. as it was moving into Smith County. Severe thunderstorm warnings were ongoing at that time. And then we had the storm move across at 8:30. You can see it's continuing to move out to the east. The lightning indicated a very strong, powerful thunderstorm with winds in excess of 70 miles an hour. That marched across Smith County, also moved into parts of Panola or Rusk County and Gregg County, and now it has moved out to the east. What is next up here is going to be this next line of thunderstorms coming through. We pointed out that the atmosphere got pretty worked over by these early thunderstorms. These do not have the same type of sharp edge to them, but still thunder, lightning coming in. So as we try to clean up today, please be mindful and the dangers of lightning that will be coming in the next couple of hours. So the lightning will come into Canton and parts of Van Zandt County and Henderson County, city of Athens. Canton, there was reports some trees down there. So if you live in Canton, then you have to worry about thunder or lightning, and you may have to take a break. And also for the city of Tyler, another little thunderstorm has popped up over the city of Tyler, with that next line coming into the city of Tyler. Moving back out here to the east, this part of the storm has really taken on probably the strongest part of the shape. Not so much down. Nacogdoches has some very scary looking clouds with it, and it looks like some stronger winds there. But when you look inside the thunderstorm on that leading edge into Panola County, this is where the strongest winds could be and where we could still have another spin up. So that warning, this severe thunderstorm warning, will likely go until at least 11 a.m. And we'll see if we get another one back to the west. The tornado warning was, I believe, canceled by the National Weather Service as that rotation broadened out a little bit, but it may still take another 3 minutes before it clears off our deck here. But that's that rotation that they warned the severe thunderstorm, they warned the storm on for that tornado warning. Carthage right now, it's moving into Carthage, okay? Laneville, south toward Nacogdoches, there's some very strong winds at Nacogdoches. We were looking at that. There's a lot of turbulence in the sky. Quick look outside at that Nacogdoches camera again will give us a look at just kind of that turbulence that's moving overhead and just the speed of those clouds. So I don't see anything of particular concern in the Nacogdoches area in terms of lowerings or anything of that nature. So we'll go back to radar and give you another look at the storms as they move out to the east. Maybe tracking, we could probably track the arrival time of that, but if you want to track that southern edge of Nacogdoches, because that's headed down to some of our deep East Texas counties, that's headed towards San Augustine County, that's headed towards Shelby County and Sabine County. And so you can expect some gusty winds with this. Maybe a tornado warning still here this morning. One could spin up. We have seen some rotations on the southern end of this thunderstorm. We've had some tail end Charlies trying to pop up there. Timpson, Grigsby, Chirino, Center, Choice, Shelbyville, and East Liberty between 10 and 11 o'clock. So I'll walk you through. Here's Timpson, 10:05, Grigsby about 10:15, then Center and Chirino about the same time for arrival there, 10:26 to 10:37. Then you get out farther to the east towards Shelbyville and eventually over toward East Liberty and southeastern Shelby County. That would not have it into Sabine County until well after 11 o'clock, maybe closer to noon. Lufkin, again, is just outside of that severe thunderstorm warning, so Lufkin looks like you're going to skirt by without much other than some breezy winds and some rain and a couple rumbles of thunder. Crockett, I believe, missed out on the storm in Palestine also. Southern Cherokee County now is coming out, so Southern Cherokee County, even though you still have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect, you are good to go from Rusk down to Alto. You should be fine, should be able to come out of your shelter without any type of concern. But again, the next area up for some gusty winds is going to be right there where that line just sharpened up a little bit. The Boeing segment sharpened up just a little bit in the last couple of scans, and so the winds may be trying to reorganize and pick up just a little bit. Farther to the north along the line, up toward Carthage, is another area here from south of Longview. Longview, by the way, you are in the clear for the moment. Down to Carthage, this is pushing out what appears to be more northeasterly, at least in the last couple of when we played the animations out. It looks like this is starting to turn more to the northeast, maybe not, more southeast toward the same direction. Just looked like it was trying to push the wind out closer to the northeast, back toward Marshall into parts of Harrison County. A little sliver of Harrison County is in that severe thunderstorm warning till 10 a.m. All right, 10 a.m. So now we have a reset here. So we've dropped the severe thunderstorm warning for Rusk County, Panola County, Harrison County, and we still have the severe thunderstorm warning until 10:45, and that is going to be for Nacogdoches County, Shelby County, San Augustine County, and a good portion of Angelina County. So, all right. So we can wrap things up here. Well, I want to stay with this just a little bit longer in case we get another severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning out of that. Any other damage reports? Okay, I'm going to toss it over to Sarah. It looks like you have a picture
Brett,
here, Sarah.
We have, I believe, a picture and a video. This is from Shannon Elder in Canton. She sent us these images from Canton, and she's thankful that the tree did not hit her home. But as you can see, there are tree limbs scattered all throughout her property, and these are massive trees that snapped in half and are all the way on their side. You can see them right there. Now, these storms already did move through Canton, and they're continuing to push out to the east. So Canton, you are not currently under some sort of severe weather watch or warning, but we are watching the secondary line of storms. It doesn't appear that these will be as severe as the first line that came through. That's because the atmosphere is very worked over, but this is just a testament to how strong these wind gusts are. We've seen reported wind gusts close to 60 miles per hour, but radar estimates have been closer to 70 miles per hour, so very, very damaging. Also, lots of power reports. At our last report, it was over 40,000 people across East Texas have been without power this morning. If you've lost power, please make sure that you report it and don't just assume that someone else in your area has already reported it. But we do have that secondary line coming through. Right now, it's toward Corsicana and Mejia. It's heading out toward Athens and Canton. Now, most of this will be not as severe as that first line because the atmosphere, it's tired. It's already used all of its energy in that first line, but it still could be on the intense side. So make sure that you are staying weather aware. I'm going to throw a track on this. That way you can see it. It's moving at about 30 miles per hour. 35 miles per hour. So this secondary wave that's coming through toward Crossroads and Athens, closer to maybe the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. Markeson closer to 8:30. Ben Wheeler, that'll get to you closer to 10:40. Van closer to 10:55. Frankston about 11, and then Palestine a little bit after 11. Again, this is for the secondary wave, so it won't be as intense, but it is still something that we're watching. This first wave is still pushing through, and really the bulk of the storm activity is in deep East Texas. I'm going to look outside right now. This is over SFA, and just look how quickly those clouds are moving. I believe this is pointed up to the northwest. You can see very quick cloud movement, and it looks like a couple of raindrops may be falling on our camera right now. But really, the biggest thing that we're tracking isn't the rain, it's the damaging wind gusts. I've seen confirmed reports of close to 60-mile-per-hour winds from our radar, close to even 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts or even more. So please make sure that you are treating this with respect. Right now, we do have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in place through deep East Texas. That one for Nacogdoches Lufkin and Center is going to go until 10:45. Then we have a new one out toward Carthage. Actually, I believe that was already in issuance, but we do have that secondary severe thunderstorm warning, including Carthage, Tatum, and all the way across the border. That one is going to go until 10:45 as well. This means large hail, gusty winds, so you are not out of the woods just yet. Brett?
All right, yeah, so DeBerry is in the line of that thunderstorm. Carthage, of course, right now in the line of that very heavy thunderstorm. We want to go over some power outages. Got some new numbers in here. I think Smith or Wood County, we're getting some big time. How many are there, though, Coretta? You're telling me 113,000? 113,000 power outages across East Texas. So this storm has knocked out power to a lot of folks, and it's going to be a while because we have power crews already working down in the Lake Palestine area, and now we have 113,000 across East Texas without power. So it's going to be a while before you get your power back on. But again, those severe thunderstorm warnings go until 10:45. So we're about to take a break because we're going to have to kind of get ready and see what this storm does. Right now, there are no severe thunderstorm warnings on that line heading into Canton and Athens and back toward Corsicana, but there is some heavy rainfall associated with that. But these severe thunderstorm warnings go until 10:45. So what we would do is come back on, of course, if there was a tornado warning for sure, as these move into Shelby, San Augustine, and Sabine County. But if we can just quickly take a look at the winds inside that storm at Nacogdoches, Lufkin, we'll get some confirmation for ourselves that we don't have an imminent danger coming in here, and we'll try to maybe offline the wind speeds in that. Right now, that looks like it's about in the order of, and I could do that while we have that up there. There is a little bit of rotation showing up in the mid-range, in the mid-levels of that storm, just south of Nacogdoches, but currently no tornado warning on that at the time. From the National Weather Service radar site in Shreveport, it looks like those wind speeds inside that storm may be in the order of, well, I'm not seeing a whole lot of very strong winds. The strongest winds are up toward Carthage, down in the Nacogdoches Lufkin area. It does not look to be more than maybe 30 miles an hour, but it is severe thunderstorm warned at this time based on what we've seen in the past, based on history. And maybe if we turn off this severe thunderstorm warning and maybe just sample these brightest red areas here for downburst winds, see what we're getting over the city of Nacogdoches right now. So 37 miles an hour, 49, so very close to severe thunderstorm warning limit. So again, and then up to the north there toward Mount Enterprise, those are 24. So yeah, this is still the strongest part of the storm. 50-mile-an-hour velocity winds here toward Nacogdoches with that severe thunderstorm warning till 10:45. All right, so take a look at the numbers of power outages. We're going to break this down for you here. And again, so you've got Smith County, 31,000 outages. Wood County behind the storm now, 20,700 are counted up. Van Zant, nearly 20,000 outages. Henderson County, it's just more than 11,000. Over in Rusk, it's nearly 5,000 outages. So when you add all those numbers up, you're getting close to more than 113,000 without power. Thankfully, we don't have excessive heat coming in for the rest of the week, kind of like we did last year when we had that late night bow segment that moved through. In fact, that ended up being a derecho that moved all the way into Mississippi. With this storm here, we do have more rain chances today and then late tonight, and then there are rain chances throughout the week heading in through the weekend. However, looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlook this morning, once we get to about Friday, the chance for severe weather, they use the term potential is too low for a risk area. So while there could be isolated severe thunderstorms, there isn't anything like this. They did have a slight risk out for the entire area across East Texas for today, meaning there would be scattered severe thunderstorms. I think we've seen a little more than scattered severe thunderstorms. But again, and it's such an unusual time of the day for these thunderstorms to come through early morning. Usually we want the heat of the day to build those things up. And then sometimes here in East Texas, we tend to get whatever forms out in West Texas or North Central Texas with big thunderstorms. We tend to get line segments. But today we saw a Boeing segment push out of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and move all the way down here to the Nacogdoches area. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a break. We'll go back to regular programming. We appreciate you spending your morning with us as we track severe weather. Hopefully, meteorologist Sarah Blue and myself were able to keep you safe and calm this morning. That's what we're here for. But we will break back into programming if we've got another tornado warning on the ground. Thank you very much for watching. Please, if you have any questions, post those on our Facebook page. Email us, weather@cbs19.tv, and we'll try to get back to you as fast as possible. Have a great morning, everyone. We'll see you at noon.